I'm a totally different person. all the cells in my body have changed.
There's like some days where I ask me, I'm like, have I ruined your life?
I'm responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel. I've been doing a lot of growing over the, I don't know. I'm gonna make you look like an asshole. Really? Which isn't hard to do.
A few moments later.
This is my request. I would like you to not harass me or my wife.
I'd rip old iDubbbz apart. I'd tear him to pieces.
Who is this cute little lesbian and how tight is her pussy?
My reputation's deceased.
So sad that I'm actually happy about that.
Never in my life have I ever seen someone destroy their online reputation as effectively as iDubbbz has in the last 3 years. You see, Ian has gone from one of the most well-respected YouTubers in the entire world to a full-on lolcow, and somehow he's managed to pull that off in the same lifetime.
Yeah, are you guys familiar with OnlyFans?
And if we take a look at the iDubbbz channel today, or what's left of it, the best way I could describe this is essentially a sinking ship. Ian has lost 700,000 subscribers, he's been averaging less than 300 viewers on Twitch, he gets ratioed by his own fans on almost all of his newest videos, and his most recent charity boxing event ended up losing $250,000. And unfortunately, none of that is even close to the worst part. The worst part is the fact that just like a sinking ship, this situation is completely unsalvageable, because the iDubbbzTV channel, which used to be home to some of the most iconic videos on all of YouTube, is now controlled by what seems to be an entirely different person.
Your opponent Alex Wasabi's a giant pussy. You're gonna fucking kill him.
Some people call him Pusabi. I don't want to call him that because I think that's demeaning to women. It's either all okay or none of it's okay. So we're calling him Alexander Horseradish.
And from the outside looking in, it seems like Ian has lost every single ounce of confidence in his body, he rarely even makes jokes anymore, and it really doesn't seem like he's having that much fun making videos nowadays.
I'm gonna rot from the inside.
And it begs the question, what in the world happened to iDubbbz? What happened to the Ian that was energetic and filled with passion for creating content for the people?
Above all, I want to make the videos entertaining.
What happened to the Ian that wasn't afraid to say whatever was on his mind?
Fuck my wife. I'm sort of a cuckold man myself. Please, have a great time.
Okay, maybe some things should stay in the mind, but I made a video on Ian a few months ago, and somehow the guy's only gotten worse since then, so today we're gonna get to the bottom of this sinking ship and explore everything that Ian has done to destroy his reputation, all the lies, all the hypocrisies, and of course, we'll uncover the truth behind why everybody, including Ian himself, hates Ian.
What we do here is go back.
You know, just criticism and everything online. It's just like it all kind of builds up. You know, I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea. You know, everything, like she's my partner. You know, everything that she says, like, you know, for the most part, I'm down with.
That I've ruined his life.
Gotcha, bitch.
I come before you today as a reformed hater-ass bitch.
The problem with Ian is not the fact that he changed. I understand it's easy to just write people off entirely by just claiming that they're opposed to change, but the reality is that 99.99% of the general population is totally fine with change. That's why every single creator on this platform that was successful 6 years ago, who's still successful today, has changed significantly in that time period, and almost none of them have lost 700,000 subscribers. But what people aren't fine with is change for the worse, especially when that change for the worse can be proven through statistics, and the creator still consciously decides to double and triple down on that change, knowing that things are only getting worse and worse as time goes on.
You know what they say about going to hell? It's like, when you find hell, don't turn back. Go further. Right. Go through hell. Get to the other side.
So first things first, let's take a look at this video, I Miss the Old iDubbbz, because I think it is a perfect case study on how disappointing Ian's new content is. Because after Creator Clash 2, Ian and Anissa went on the H3 podcast, and for some reason, Anissa tried really hard to get Ian to tease this video.
So.
Oh, do you want to hint at maybe what else you're going to do on your main channel? You don't have to say who it's about.
Yes, on my main channel, I'm going to be addressing controversies, and I'm going to be putting out
a...
I'm gonna be putting out a content cop.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a content cop.
This is a very vague tease.
Unfortunately, the video we got was not a content cop. Instead, it's just Ian sitting in his room and reading a script. There's no jokes, there's no clips from old content cops breaking down exactly why he was wrong or showcasing exactly what aspects of his old content he now considers to be harmful. He just talks.
This is only a step in the right direction, and I know that a lot more needs to be done to even approach a life that I would think would be like acceptable.
I want to make this clear, I think it's totally fine for Ian to apologize for the things in his old content that he considers to be bad, such as the certain aspects of his old content that could be considered racially insensitive.
Okay, well that one's just, I mean, it's not racist, it's just gay, because black people don't own any businesses, so that's... Bruh.
But the reality is, it has been well over 2,000 days since the last content cop came out, so this apology would have happened years ago if he actually felt as strongly as he claims to feel in this video.
I have made some cruel, hurtful content, and I need to acknowledge that, and I'm really sorry that it's taken me this long to acknowledge it. The content I'm talking about specifically are content cop videos.
I'm here to tell you, Ian is not apologizing because he's sorry. He's apologizing because he's bowing to societal pressures to change his opinions, and he's saying the words that he thinks is gonna help him survive. Ian intentionally pandered to his previous edgy audience and was 100% consciously doing that as a fully grown adult when he was making more than $100,000 a month from that content.
Fight crime. Abort black baby.
So although some might argue that Ian's transformation is a result of personal growth and introspection, the reality is Ian's shift towards maturity and abandoning edgy content just so happened right around the same time that videos started getting demonetized in 2016. So that alone proves that his change was, at the very least, influenced by external factors rather than an internal desire to change for the better.
Would you guys like to hear the juiciest bit of hypocrisy?
The most cruel and hurtful content that Ian has ever produced was actually Creator Clash 2, and that took place like 3 months ago. Because after Ian kicked Froggy Fresh off of the Creator Clash 2 card, Ian decided to punish this poor guy, Chris Raygun, by matching him up against a guy named William Haynes, who was half a foot taller than Chris, had a 5-inch reach advantage on Chris, and he had to lose 13 pounds in 3 weeks just to still weigh in 7 pounds heavier than Chris. And as you would expect, Chris got the living fuck beaten out of him by William. And Chris actually got his brain cells rearranged in such a horrific fashion that after getting TKO'd, he literally punched the female referee in the back of the head. And keep in mind, they could have easily canceled this one fight instead of putting their own friend in a position where he had to sustain permanent brain damage just to try and save Ian and Anissa's reputation. So although content cops absolutely were cruel in certain parts,
I'm smarter than you, you can't think before you speak, and I've never said this unironically, but I think this will be the first time I actually say it unironically and mean it. Kill yourself.
A content cop never resulted in someone physically getting the crap kicked out of them, and obviously there is a big difference between hearing words through a screen and taking an ass whooping from a man who's twice your size in front of hundreds of thousands of people. And that's not even mentioning the documentaries Ian makes, which I still think are great videos, but we can't just pretend like he's not going out to these people's homes with his camera crew and staff and treating these content creators in unfortunate situations like circus clowns the entire time.
And I want to keep doing it. I really badly want to keep doing it because it was a lot of fun, and there's a lot of kooky characters out there in the world that I'm itching to put a camera in front of.
He even said to one of my crew members, overheard him saying during the shoot, he said, I'm usually the puppet master in these types of situations. Which is just like, it's just like a mentally sick thing to say.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Yes.
He said, I'm usually the puppet man. That's like a sociopathic Way to see the world.
So the problem is not that Ian apologized. The problem is that he's proven to us through his actions that he doesn't actually care about the things that he claims to be apologizing for. And I think the reason why he purposely took his apology way too far by claiming that I know this can never be enough and I know I could never be forgiven for all the horrible crimes I've committed is so he can appeal to the emotions of those who tend to be more naive.
I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage. You know, these videos have been up for a long time and have accumulated millions of views. I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it. This is something that I should live the rest of my life with, and I expect to. I've profited off of this bigoted content for years, and I've made a successful career out of it, and that's not right.
Let's not forget, Ian was not some edgy teenager when he made those videos. He was an adult with a fully developed brain, and he was sober when he posted those videos. So if the videos were truly as horrendous as he claims they were, he probably wouldn't have posted them in the first place. But the way this guy is talking about his old content, you would have thought he was just running over minorities in mass quantities for fun.
I have osteoporosis.
And look, parts of his old content definitely did not age well.
I think a lot of this stuff, despite it being bad, that's what age does. You look at people's old videos, it's bad. You know, look at my old videos, they're fucking bad.
And of course, parts of it was just racist. But when you really put things into perspective, the things that Ian has done are not even half as bad as someone like Logan Paul, for example. That man has single-handedly scammed thousands of black people. So Logan is infinitely more racist than Ian, there's no debate there, yet even Logan Paul doesn't have as bad of a reputation as Ian does.
I'm embarrassed that it's taken me 25 years to realize this. It is not enough to be not racist. You have to be anti-racist.
Oh, okay guys, never mind. It's actually because Logan is against racism.
So without further ado, Logan, let's do it!
I apologize for the eyesore, but I'm only bringing up Logan because he proves my point perfectly.
He filmed someone who had committed suicide in Japan, and he put it on his YouTube channel.
The issue with Ian is not even the actions that he took to gain views and attention. Nobody ever canceled Ian, nobody ever exposed him, nobody ended his career. Ian canceled himself based on his subjective outlook of his old content, which was clearly shaped by external factors, and not even himself, and because Ian has been so consistently disingenuous to his audience, people can see right through Ian's attempt at pandering to a predetermined audience. You do not end up with 110,000 dislikes without, at the very least, doing something wrong.
I have always thought that I was an empathetic person because I thought, well, I get angry, I get sad, of course I got empathy. Seems easy, right? Empathy? I definitely have that. There were moments where like a dog would die in a film and I'd cry, so it's like, of course I have empathy. But I never did. I think only in these past couple of years have I gained the ability empathy, and I'm very ashamed to admit that. It sounds really pathetic to say at the age of 32 I've acquired empathy, but I have, and I've realized it because I just like can't help myself but like feel for other people's pain and suffering now. I'm still not perfect. I think that is, my empathy meter's only maybe like a quarter of the way filled up, potentially, but it's at least there.
If you haven't learned empathy until you're 32 years old, that means you either just didn't go outside both as a child and as a young adult, or you're some sort of a psychopath. Either way, if you failed to unlock a basic human emotion by the time you're 25 years old, that discredits everything you ever have to say because that indicates a clear lack of real-world experience. But let's just take Ian's statement at face value and take a look at exactly what Ian's newfound empathy has led to.
I am running ads on this video, and any revenue generated from this video I'm going to match and donate to an organization that would have been particularly affected by the type of rhetoric that I've been spewing on this channel.
So here he claims he's going to donate money to an organization which has been particularly affected by the rhetoric that he's been spewing on his channel, which seems like a great gesture. So I clicked on one of the charities in the description, and this is what came up: a black trans charity. And I was shocked, to say the least, because I've had to sit through hours and hours and hours of old iDubbbz content, and I don't recall ever seeing Ian hating on black trans people.
And then it hit me.
He used to constantly do this thing on his channel where he would just say the N-word and the F-slur back to back as a way to show random teenagers on the internet how edgy he was.
I haven't heard that one in a while. For any of you who think me and my subscribers are a bunch of savages, just get a load at how perfectly the word nigger is written in.
So as a result of Ian attempting to show the general public how accepting and not racist and not homophobic he is, he has literally donated money to a group of people that he has personally identified as a group of N-word F-slurs.
Dude, that is insane! God, like, really? Really? What the fuck?
This is performative activism at its finest. He's hoping that people perceive him in a better light because he made an apology video 6 years later, and because he's throwing money at a problem that cannot be solved with money, all while simultaneously pretending like he's helping people. The reality is, this apology video was nothing but an attempt to pander to a predetermined audience. If Ian truly felt like the newer version of himself had changed for the better, he would be able to display to the world exactly what aspects of his old content that he no longer agrees with in great detail, such as why he thinks jokes shouldn't be either all okay or none of it should be okay. But he kept this video intentionally vague because if he were to try and actually expand on some of these points and provide concrete examples, this video would probably have 10 times as many dislikes because he'd be putting himself in an indefensible situation. For example, in this video, he apologizes to everyone who he's ever made a content cop video on.
I'm sorry to everyone that I made content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine, but I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way.
Now let's take a look at what the people who he's apologizing to have to say about this apology.
And I guess he posted this apology video apologizing for like a bunch of things he did in the past, one of them being the video he made with me or like to me or something. I kind of think I'd like deserved that. And maybe that's like dark like to say, but like I don't feel like I'm owed an apology. And maybe that's because I've accepted it so much that like people always ask me if you could go back in time and like make that never happen, like would you? And I always say no.
Look, the iDubbbz Keemstar thing is funny, right? You know, there's a bunch of clips of me being
can't wait to report your death. Dude, you got cancer. Leave the internet. Go spend time with your family. Quit talking shit about people.
And that's part of the gimmick, right? That's part of who I am online. So it's a good video. I don't see anything wrong with it.
I'm sorry to everyone that I made content cop videos on. I still don't like the majority of you, and that's fine. But I can recognize that you did not deserve the hate and harassment that I sent your way. I particularly want to apologize to Tana. Tana, I'm sorry.
Well, hold on. And what about me?
I'm also sorry to all the black viewers and minority groups who had to put up with that video.
Bro, this is just like the Twilight Zone. What the fuck happened to this guy, dude?
Or like entertained. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have...
He like got fucking molested or some shit, dude. This is crazy. I don't even think that... Dude, it had to be more.
I think out of those 4 people, Leafy, Tana, Keemstar, and Rice Gum, they would all acknowledge the fact that at the very least, some of the criticisms that Ian made against them at that time were valid. And let's not forget the fact that every one of those 4 people, except for Leafy, went on to become an undeniable crypto con artist. I've already made a video on Keem and his scams, and Rice Gum and his scams, and I'll make one on Tana in the future.
That's not a threat. That's a promise.
But here's Tana promoting possibly the most egregious crypto scam of all time.
You believe my ownership in Titscoin just bought me this beautiful Rolls Royce? Get yours now.
Titscoin is now down 100%. So not only are these just not good people, 3/4 of these people have proven to the world that they would steal every single dollar in your bank account, including Ian's, without even thinking about it twice. Some might even consider that to be a lack of empathy. Yet this guy is sitting there apologizing to a bunch of undeniable scammers and a guy who cyberbullied 12-year-olds and autistic people for money.
You are a piece of fucking garbage. Garbage.
And on top of it, you're a fucking hypocrite.
That is a spineless move. If Ian wanted to say at the end of the Keemstar content cop, I specifically shouldn't have said or done X, Y, and Z, or I shouldn't have said this and that as often as I did in the past, or he shows a clip of his old content saying that I now disavow this statement, that would clearly indicate personal growth and introspection. But this blanket apology, where he intentionally ignores why he even made those videos in the first place, is garbage, because I can only imagine how much worse these people would be, and how many more people out there would have gotten scammed, and how many more preteens would have gotten cyberbullied if Ian's videos on them from back in the day wasn't in the back of their minds every now and then.
I was morally grandstanding and acting as if I am any better than any of these people that I was making content cop videos on, and I'm not. I'm a human, I'm a real human who makes mistakes, and you know, I make a different set of mistakes than the people I was making videos on, but it doesn't matter. I don't think anyone deserves that level of cruelty or hate. It's also indoctrinated a lot of people into thinking that this is an okay way to behave, and it's not. It's super irresponsible and shitty.
He specifically said in one of his old content cops that his intention was not to morally grandstand, and he explained exactly why he wasn't trying to morally grandstand, but of course Ian makes sure to not include that in this video.
I didn't say that I'm morally superior to you, because it seems like he has this disregard for what he can be criticized for.
What would he say?
And I just want to spell it out. Hey, dumbass, you did something stupid in the past, you can be criticized for it.
And even if we take Ian at his word now, and he was morally grandstanding, let's not forget, Ian still to this day uses weaponized virtue to his advantage.
Talk more about how sex workers are property. Okay. That's a funny joke. It was super funny the third time that you referred to women as property. That was the funniest one. Because when you said lease, I was like, yeah, I know what a lease is.
It takes an advanced sense of humor. I don't expect everybody to understand.
So the only difference between then and now is that he's doing it on people who he subjectively considers to be more deserving people like Froggy Fresh, Sam Hyde, and Leafy. He's still vitriolic and spiteful, just on different people and in different ways that appeals to a different audience. So based on his actions and not his words, Ian has not changed positively, and he is not changing in good faith. Ian is changing because he has no other choice, given the way he's played his cards over the past few years. And the part that sucks about that is that although I disagree with the way he went about certain things back in the day, I can confidently say that he was still a force for good, and that's why the general public was so happy to support him back then. Nowadays, I can quite confidently say he's not, and that is exactly why people in general no longer support him.
I don't think Froggy respects sex workers. I think he has some really old, tired opinions about people who do sex work. I think he has a lot of weird opinions as well about masculinity and shit. A lot of it's not explicitly said, but when you listen to the jokes, it's like, oh, that's actually just your opinion phrased in a comedic way.
Coping so hard, coping and seething.
But I was still coping.
Ian has made a lot of mistakes over the years, but many of the challenges that he's currently facing today could easily be mitigated if he simply started prioritizing the best interests of his followers every now and then. Instead, Ian, being the absolute genius that he is, decided to go on record and directly insult all of his old fans.
I did not like the interactions that I had with fans. There were quite a few human beings that I interacted with.
In person?
Yeah, in person, that just sucked. They just sucked because I attracted a lot of people who sucked. Some people were, as I described earlier, were very much like antisocial, weird basement dwellers, and you know, the one time a month that they come out of their cave is going to restock on supplies at Walmart, and they run into me, their favorite YouTuber.
Which is kind of the lifestyle you were living at the time.
Yeah, exactly. I don't blame them.
And what would they say? What would they do?
Things that I am certainly not going to repeat. I'm talking bad words, cringy behavior that like maybe I'd do in a video because I got a camera pointed at me. There'd be some of that energy matched in person, and it's like, oh, maybe not.
Keep in mind, the behavior that he's describing there is the exact same behavior that Ian showed tens of millions of impressionable young teenagers across the world and told them that it was completely acceptable back then.
say
and he even made sure to specifically clarify it in that same video.
I'm gonna wrap up this video with a phrase that most logical people can get behind. I mentioned it earlier in the video, and that is, it's either all okay or none of it's okay. It's important to remember if you ever mistakenly identify a word as off limits. No words are off limits. You're allowed to get offended by the words and say, oh, I didn't like that very much. But for you to come at the person and say, you're a bad person for saying this, you're racist for saying this, at the end of the day, everything's a choice.
But when his fans do what he did to someone else on video in front of 30 million people, even if they were way younger than he was back then, apparently those guys can just be written off as basement-dwelling incels?
You like the hour-long green alien dance? You like Slenderman Gangnam Style, dude? You like Overgrowth Let's Play?
Antisocial, weird, basement dwellers.
Me personally, I wouldn't take this level of disrespect.
Is the same charitability that Ian expects his audience to give him not extended to the basement-dwelling incels? I mean, just look at what he said right after claiming to have just discovered what empathy is at the age of 32.
And I just want you guys to know that you can unlock ability empathy if you experience more life. It might take you getting hurt a little bit, but it's worth it. It is so worth it.
That was an insult disguised as advice. He's calling them basement-dwelling incels again. And frankly, he's projecting. This is still the same guy who goes on podcasts just to brag about the fact that now that he's 30, he's learned that it's healthy to go outside every now and then.
I'm not like actively choosing to like be less negative or bring people up. I don't think it's an active choice, but it's like, I think by nature, when you go and meet people, you form a connection, and things in general are just going to be a lot more positive when you actually have a connection with someone, personal connection, you meet them.
And for Ian to make a generalization about his more than 7 million fans based on a small sample size of people that he intentionally attracted to his audience is egregious.
These are the people that I'm attracting. These are the people that I'm entertaining. Like, I need to reevaluate things.
Ian knew exactly what he was doing. We cannot sit here and pretend like constantly making edgy racist jokes doesn't attract actual racists to your audience. We can't pretend like content creators don't attract what they are. And we can't pretend like it's normal to kick down the ladder once you reach the top. The fact of the matter is, every aspect of Ian's life is better off financially thanks to the people that he insulted. Ian drives a nicer car and has a nicer home and sleeps on a better mattress every night, and his wife eats better food every single day thanks to those basement dwellers. Ian hasn't even worked full-time in years thanks to those basement dwellers. Yet, instead of having even an ounce of gratitude for everything that I just mentioned, he directly insults every single fan of his that he's ever met in person.
I despise these people so much. God, why are you such a fucking horrible monster, dude?
Making generalizations like Ian did with his fans is the same thing sexist and racist people do. They judge millions of individual human beings based on the actions of a few, and mature adults do not do that unironically.
For a while, I felt like if I changed my content over time, that people would see that as a reflection of who I am and what I value, but I'm starting to realize that that is a very weak and passive way to, run my channel and live my life.
Showing your audience that you've matured through your content is by far the best way to go about expressing true and genuine change. Because by changing your content over time, you're also changing your audience over time. There's a reason why no other YouTuber has to constantly go out of their way to tell people they've changed as often as Ian does.
I think, I don't know, I've been doing a lot of growing over the,
Shut up! Shut up!
And that's because they show their viewers growth through their content and their actions, not their words. Ian cannot do that because his change hasn't been a positive one. So he's in this position where he has to verbally claim growth and maturity, but his new content is readily available for the entirety of the general public to view, and it's inarguable that his content is more immature than ever.
I put a lot of time and work into this thing, and unfortunately it doesn't go very high. One thing it does have going for it is its explosive power.
That could hurt. Actions speak louder than words, and Ian's actions prove to us everything we need to know, which is that he has not progressed, instead he's regressed, which is why the guy is now older than he's ever been and spending his days making YouTube kids videos.
You kind of have to show that you've changed.
Cheese anus, Anissa. Anissa, look at the cheese anus. Food of the god. Cheese anus.
Get it, guys? It's funny because the cheese looks like an anus, and then he repeated it multiple times, so that's when you're supposed to laugh. But realistically, that's just one moment from one video, so let's take a look at exactly what Ian's alleged growth has actually resulted in.
I've hit a point recently where I cry a lot more often. From really weird shit too. We watched the Puss in Boots movie.
And that hit you?
I cried like probably 3 different times in it.
Why are you more open to crying now?
Gaining empathy?
Yeah?
That is in no way a positive change in life. Obviously, crying is a totally normal human emotion, and at the end of the day, we're all human.
And I was human. I am human, still. But I was just referring to myself in the past. Not that I was not human.
Okay, most of us are human, not all, but if Ian wasn't lying and he actually cried 3 times from watching Puss in Boots?
This dude needs to be in a fucking cage! Put him in a cage!
I'm serious, he should not be allowed to freely roam the streets after crying 3 times from watching a children's movie about a cat, then deciding to step in front of a camera just to brag about it as if this is some sort of a good thing in any possible way. And we saw Ian's crying obsession manifest into the real world when he lost his second boxing match to Alex Wasabi at Creator Clash 2.
I am here with iDubbbz. iDubbbz, it was an absolutely hell of a fight. What would you like to say to all your fans and supporters that were rooting for you here today?
I don't know, shit's hard. Yeah, I really appreciate everyone. You know, I know not everyone's cup of tea, but I really do appreciate the support, and you know, thank you for coming.
Obviously, this was a very emotional moment for Ian, and I get it, but once you understand the real reason why he lost, it's hard to even empathize with the guy, because him losing is all his fault. And luckily for you, I know the real reason why he lost.
Lay it on us.
It's because he doesn't say the N-word anymore. And now that he's stopped saying it, he's magically lost every milligram of testosterone left in his body.
It's totally fine. I don't need to say the N-word. Just don't think it's not necessary.
Coward.
I mean, come on, guys. You can't tell me Wasabi's not dropping some N-bombs every now and then behind closed doors after what KSI did to him.
Final thoughts here as we wrap up. Talk to me about just your final thoughts heading into this fight. Anything you want to say to your fans, Alex?
Fights! Fights! You think this guy is fights? No, humor me.
Go ahead, Alex.
Just kidding, but I saw a lot of people making fun of Ian for that interview, and I disavow that completely. This was clearly quite the roller coaster of emotions for Ian, so I am not going to be making fun of him for that.
You are such a good person.
You see, I've changed, and I've grown since part 1. But I'm only bringing this up because I don't think what we saw in that interview was in any way a normal or healthy cry. That was a cry for help from what seems to be a clearly broken man. There's a very healthy middle ground between overly emotional and complete stoicism, and Ian isn't even close to that middle ground. But to be fair to Ian, I don't blame the guy for being so emotional nowadays. I mean, just look at the way his own wife treats him in front of millions of people.
I just want to ask him if you've always been shitting your pants.
No.
Because since I've known you, you've always had like IBS. You've always been shitting yourself. You've always been shitting yourself. You've always been shitting yourself.
Yeah, well,
If there's any justice in this world, Anissa will be placed in a Russian gulag for just this one clip. They were just talking about one of Ian's old friends, and then out of nowhere, Anissa randomly decides to tell the entire world that Ian consistently shits his pants in the middle of the day, which is a completely unnecessary piece of information to willingly offer to the world unless your intention is to try and hurt the person in question. And we've seen Ian's overly emotional state start to negatively impact the quality of his content. For example, one of his streams got raided by this woman named Betty, who is a contestant on Fish Tank. And for some reason, after he gets raided and gets the opportunity to entertain an additional 250 viewers, his brain just completely shuts off and he forgets how to even talk.
Cozy wow session. Ooh, I like this pet.
This thing is loud.
Warlock? What are you doing?
What's that?
What are you doing? What's loud?
Oh, fucking raid.
Oh. Whoa, you got raided. Still.
Sorry guys, I gotta queue up this 1,000 sub special.
Never in my life have I seen a live streamer just sit there and look at their screen for that long without saying a single word.
No, he did not die. Just...
Oh, fucking raid.
And in general, in his new videos, he looks like he wants to cry all the time, and he has zero confidence. And if you somehow manage to actually pay attention to the monotonous words that come out of his mouth, the best way I could describe it would be predictably depressing.
I am very insecure about my ability to create interesting content or like entertain. It's gotten better over the years, but it's something that I have struggled with constantly. I'm not confident in my ability to entertain, and I think if I had to rely on my personality to entertain people, that I wouldn't have any amount of success, and that is really hard to come to terms with.
I was never a fan of Ian's, and obviously I'm still not, but for him to have gotten well over 1 billion views and about 8 million subscribers at his peak definitively proves his ability to entertain people. You can make the argument that he only got views from content cops, but that's the furthest thing from the truth, because he's had other series that collectively got infinitely more views, and as someone who's had the opportunity to watch both his new and old content for the first time around the same time, I can assure you that that lack of confidence that he's displaying right here is the #1 difference between the old Ian and the new Ian. What made Ian stand out from everybody else back in the day was the fact that he wasn't afraid to do and say things that everybody else was scared of doing. For example, he was the first large content creator to go after Leafy.
It was very much like the Keemstar thing. It's like a lot of people didn't realize, because everyone decided to jump on the bandwagon after the fact, but like leading up to it, I was very nervous because obviously like it was a big deal. He had many more subscribers than me. Many people told me like, this is a bad idea. Tons of people said, I don't know if you should do that.
Today is the day we get to bully Leafy.
Ian did not care about what people thought about him or his videos, and that paid off massively for him back then. However, because now he seems to care a little too much about his reputation, he comes across as very hesitant, and we're starting to see that reflect in his content.
Am I allowed to cuss on this?
And based on the way he talks about his former fans now, Ian stopped looking at his followers as human beings a long time ago.
Because it seems like me just ignoring it has led to like a cultivation of a bunch of retards.
Instead, Ian looks at his audience as nothing but numbers on a screen that he can manipulate and lie to as much as he wants, and they'll eat up the garbage that he says no matter what he says, even when it's verifiably false.
My general focus is making videos and just kind of a return to form a little bit. Obviously, like leaving all the things that I wasn't a fan of or have grown to like really not like over time, leaving that behind, and you know, at least keeping some of, you know, what makes the iDubbbz channel the iDubbbz channel. I'm not sure what that is. I'll have to figure that out. Hopefully with time, like people will be like, oh yeah, he does that sort of thing now.
That's just not true. If that were true, he would have made more videos over the course of the past 1,000 days. It's quite a large sample size. But to me, the most confusing part about that clip is that he's already found the thing that people could potentially recognize him for, which is the documentaries that he makes. In my opinion, they're all great videos in terms of quality, and from what I can tell, it seems like almost everyone loves those videos, but unfortunately, he just doesn't make them very often. His first documentary was based on Airsoft Fatty, and that came out in 2019. So since then, he's only released 3 one-hour-long documentaries in the past 4 years. And look, these things take time, and I understand that, but the problem is the fact that he's lied to his audience about future projects on numerous occasions, and he just isn't very transparent.
It also just really helps support future projects, and they're coming. And it won't take a year. It will not take a year for another project to come out. Just saying.
That was a lie. Getting Away With It was his last documentary, and that was released in February of 2022, meaning that it's been well over a year and a half since his last documentary came out. He also claimed he was going to release a Creator Clash documentary.
I think I'm going to hold off on giving my opinion on a lot of these fights until the documentary comes out, because there's a lot of like missing context and interesting stories that I want to tell. So just be patient on that. A documentary will be available eventually.
Yet again, it's been well over a year since he said that, and the documentary still hasn't come out. And this one seems to have slipped under the rug, but Ian also said he was going to be releasing a show at one point as well.
I want to keep making videos. We're leasing this fucking expensive-ass office, and we have all of these other plans that we want to do. I want to do a show. We've written down a ton of shit and lined stuff up for a show, and we have a whole set built over to the side of us.
Big, giant, expensive.
Where is the show, Ian? Can we get an update or something at least? I mean, it's been more than a year, dude.
I'm sorry, but at this particular time, that's looking like cap.
To the best of my knowledge, mature people do not consistently make promises on video that they cannot keep. I'm not saying Ian should drop a new 1 hour long documentary every other month, but if Ian's general focus was truly on making videos, at the very least, he would release 1 documentary a year, assuming that he doesn't absolutely despise making them. And if he hates making them, then he shouldn't be making them. But if that's the case, he needs to say that to his audience then. The problem is the deception and the lack of transparency. Ultimately, people only know who Ian is because he used to make good videos, and the current version of Ian that we see today doesn't. So I'm not saying he should be making content cops again, because clearly he doesn't want to do that. But if Ian simply started making videos on generally interesting topics that took him even a third as much time, effort, and planning as it took him to make a content cop, I am 100% sure that eventually his videos would be great again, and that his reputation wouldn't be even half as bad as it is today. But he just doesn't even do that. Instead, he's busy uploading drama vlogs in his room by himself, just coping in 720p after a decade of making videos, which is inexcusably poor. If there was ever a valid reason to cancel Ian, it would be for this.
I'm more specifically, why are people calling you a simp?
I mean,
well,
do you want me to? I'm pretty sure you
talked about it.
Understand.
I'm just
why.
trying. Well,
it's because my girlfriend is selling nudes on the internet.
Life is for living. Let's see where the song might lead. Let's see where the song might lead.
Can't do it. I can't take this.
Another big reason as to why people in general dislike Ian now is because his wife Anissa clearly enjoys publicly humiliating and embarrassing her husband, as we saw earlier with the IBS situation. And regardless of what goes on behind closed doors with these two, Anissa has made Ian her public designated punching bag.
Start making money again, so
maybe explain why you cried, because I feel like people might be kind of curious.
Well,
about
yeah,
that.
I was gonna get to that to the end there.
And when she says things like this about her partner consistently in front of millions of people, it makes people perceive Ian like the kind of guy who talks like this behind closed doors.
I love the kind of woman that will actually just kill me. You know, when I left the house today, I was thinking, damn, I really hope some hot chick paints my brains all over some fucking hallway. And here we are. I mean, really, just absolutely destroy me. I'm talking full-on watermelon in the thighs level carnage. And I wanted to scare the shit out of me.
I mean, I hope I piss myself. I hope I piss myself and you call me
your little pee-pee piss boy.
You've always been shitting yourself.
So first things first, to fully understand this relationship and how we got to this point, we have to understand the beginning of this relationship. Because as we all know, you cannot build a great building on a weak foundation. And this relationship was built on the weakest possible foundation known to mankind: self-admitted infidelity.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, my significant other that I'm with now, like, when I met him, I was dating somebody else.
You're a whore. You're a whore. Just admit it.
Look, those were Ian's words, not mine, but what the hell was that? Why does anybody on this planet need to know that Anissa cheated on her boyfriend at that time to get with Ian? Couldn't she have just not said that publicly while recording herself?
That would be a good idea now, wouldn't it?
And why does nobody ever talk about the fact that it's just not a very mature thing for Ian to have done? I don't know about you, but when I think about maturity, the last thing that comes to my mind is a 26-year-old man who finds a woman with a boyfriend, then starts dating that woman with a boyfriend, and then goes on to marry that woman, knowing for a fact that that woman cheated on her ex-boyfriend just to get with him.
So are you arguing that it's better to be with a virtuous woman?
Yes.
Obviously, they can do whatever they want in their personal lives. It makes no difference to me or anyone watching this video. But that is the problem. Anissa makes their personal lives public when there should be a clear difference between the two. There's a reason as to why you can click on any of the 2,000 plus Joe Rogan podcast episodes and go to any random timestamp, and he's not going to be talking about some random drama with his wife and his kids, because personal stuff should stay at home. But Anissa likes to publicize everything, so believe it or not, the beginning of this relationship is actually way worse than the verifiable infidelity.
How? Hold on, bro. How? I'm saying, how? Like, talk to me, bro.
Anissa's pursuit of Ian was, at the very least, significantly influenced by his status as a multi-millionaire and one of the most successful content creators in the world at that time.
I love iDubbbz so much. iDubbbz is probably one of the very few males on this planet I would let him penetrate me and never call me again, and I'd be okay with it.
And you might be thinking that clip alone doesn't prove that was her plan, and maybe it was just a coincidence that Anissa happened to fall right into the lap of some 26-year-old alleged virgin who just so happened to live in a different country as her. I actually hate when that happens to me. But let's take a look at Anissa describing exactly how she judges people differently based on how high their Twitter follower count is.
Twitter feed, or I've been scrolling through my own Twitter feed, and I'll read something and I'll be like, I need to unfollow this guy. And then I'll go to his page and then it says 400k followers, and then it says Sky follows you, and my inner piece of shit goes, this is an important human being. I shouldn't unfollow him. I should just put up with it, or at least mute him.
So she just admitted on video that she places more importance on those who have larger followings on social media, which is just blasphemous, but it gets even worse when you take into consideration what she was publicly tweeting at Leafy, who coincidentally is also rich and was one of the most popular content creators in the world at the time.
Cause Anissa's not your girl, she's our girl, she's everyone's girl. I know you live in a small world, but see out here, she makes everyone hurl. And I don't really know much about her. Yeah, I just know about the site where I found her. And then I learned Anissa was our girl. Subscribe to Anissa's OnlyFans.
But guys, this can all be explained.
Going through my old tweets where I'm clearly using a caret to indicate sarcasm is just scummy. Yes, I used to bait channels and tweet really unfunny shit 4 years ago. People change. Stop acting like you can't tell it's a joke.
That wasn't even close to a good lie, Anissa. Regardless of whatever sarcastic nose face she decided to throw in there, her actions prove that this wasn't a joke. She baited iDubbbz into doing the exact same thing, and they ended up getting married. So where was the sarcasm when she went out of her way to get the attention of Ian online on video? But then again, this is still the same person who unironically tried spinning the Holocaust into some sort of a positive for the world.
As terrible as the Holocaust was, obviously it was horrendous, and how disgusting the doctor was that did the experiments on people, gay people, handicaps, twins, and obviously they were obviously Jewish, or they did it on Jewish people. They found a couple of really groundbreaking discoveries through that experimentation.
How is this your take, Anissa? I'm genuinely curious, and I demand answers. How does someone consume oxygen on this planet for more than 20 years, and then think about one of the worst events in all of human history, and the millions of people that unjustly lost their lives based on something which those people had no control over, which is the race and religion which they were born into, but she wants to sit there and talk about all the positives of the experimentation they were doing?
I said, no.
And after everything I just showed you, plus hours and hours and hours more that I don't have time to show you, Ian has the audacity to say this.
Anissa is just trying to exist. You know, she doesn't want anything to do with the drama. She doesn't want anything to do with this shit.
Ian claiming that Anissa doesn't want anything to do with the drama is just as true as her claiming to be pretty anti-capitalist.
I'm the one I think has gotten, I'm more extreme than Ian, where I'm like pretty anti-capitalist, pretty anti-capitalist.
What the fuck? How smart, what an easy way to make some extra money.
It was just like lingerie at the beginning, and I make crazy money off of like lingerie.
I hate landlords. I hate the system that we're in.
Anissa, you have a link to a website in your Twitter bio that directly sells goods and services to consumers, and you intentionally went out of your way to marry a multi-millionaire, and you moved from Canada to the US to live with your rich and famous husband, and you have more than enough money to choose to not live in a capitalist society starting tomorrow, yet she wants us to believe she's pretty anti-capitalist just because she said it to Hassan Piker in his $3 million mansion?
Fuck out of here, boy. Get that weak shot of here.
Pretty anti-capitalist.
My ass, nigga. Get the fuck out of here, man.
The truth is, Anissa absolutely wants everything to do with the drama, which is why she's constantly tweeting out garbage like this.
I hope content creators keep in mind, other content creators are watching their actions online. You aren't just talking to your audience when you tweet. Just remember that. We won't forget.
What even is this tweet? Is this supposed to be some sort of a threat? I mean, I don't know who exactly this tweet is aimed at, but it did come out just a few days after my boy Jabroni dropped his video on iDubbbz. So, I do know my response.
Shut your fucking mouth, you'll do nothing. You'll do fucking nothing. Not one of you will do nothing. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
They also do this really weird thing where Anissa goes on podcast appearances with him and she'll just speak on his behalf on essentially every subject.
But you have the best explanation, I think.
Yeah, true. I guess I do.
She's got way too much head trauma.
Am I allowed to say stuff like that?
You can say kill yourself.
And if you watch his Cold Ones interview with Max and Chad, in the middle of the interview, walking around his own house, he just magically had someone prepared right behind the camera to hold it up for him the same second they needed it.
You are looking swole though, unironically, you are looking...
No, I'm just showing you my fucking collarbone, bitch.
Yeah, let's get a good lighting shot in.
I ain't showing you shit. You guys are sick.
I don't see what... Oh! Where the fuck? How did you make your camera float? He's got a drone. It's a drone shot, bro.
That was just straight up creepy. Ian is a grown man. I would hope that we can all agree that Ian can do an interview or two without having a handler right behind the camera at all times.
I don't mean to ask you to speak for her, but athletically speaking, was Anissa watching the Minx fight and going, I would definitely beat both of these girls?
Yeah, I think she was thinking that for sure.
Would you rather do it as part of someone else's promotion, or did you like the promoting aspect to yourself and Anissa?
Oh yeah, I mean, Anissa and I love the promoting aspect. Yeah, I think we do that. Anissa's definitely better at me at...
Now, I am speculating here, but I think Anissa does this to him every time he's on camera now. I know she does it on almost all his Twitch live streams, and I think that's why it looks like someone's pointing a desert eagle right to his forehead in all his new videos. And again, I have no way of proving this. Obviously, I wasn't physically there, but I think this is why Ian went out of his way to specify that Anissa was in a different room at the end of his apology video.
So, Anissa, I love you. You're amazing. Right now you're streaming, but bon voyage.
There's a pretty good chance that he specifically mentioned exactly what she was doing at that time in an attempt to brush off rumors about her standing behind the camera when he films videos, which is so creepy, I don't even want to think about it ever again. But next, we have to talk about the only place Anissa stirs up more trouble than when she's behind the camera, which is when she's in front of the camera for OnlyFans. So let's start from day one.
When you made that OnlyFans, there was like a huge...
A lot of people cared, which was very surprising.
Anissa, if nobody cared about your OnlyFans, you wouldn't have made any money off of it. You would just be uploading pictures to your camera roll. But Anissa's sub 60 IQ couldn't wrap her head around this incredibly complex theory, so this was actually the first defense she tried to go with after making an OnlyFans.
Honestly, when I released OnlyFans, I didn't think anybody would care because, well, aside from, you know, incels. But a lot of people did care.
Anissa, you could have just Googled what incel means before using it in a sentence in the context of a pre-recorded and edited YouTube video. The incels are the ones consenting to paying random women that they don't know money for pictures on a screen that they know for a fact are on Google for free. There's no reality in which you can spin that to think that the incels are the ones not buying OnlyFans subscriptions.
I think the problem with people like this is that they are so stupid that they have no idea how stupid they are. You see, if you're very, very stupid, how can you possibly realize that you're very, very stupid? You'd have to be relatively intelligent to realize how stupid you are.
And look, the problem with Anissa starting an OnlyFans is not that Anissa has an OnlyFans. The problem is that Ian built an entire career based off of criticizing bad Kickstarters and criticizing other YouTubers.
Straight off the bat, I want to let all the newcomers to my channel know that I'm perfectly fine with bullying. Make fun of someone because they're fat, autistic, or riddled with acne. I don't care. Make fun of them. I think my only stipulation with the bullying is that you also have to not be a because he shouldn't have to bully people looking the way he does. In conclusion, I like bullying. And I can't think of a more deserving person on YouTube right now than
you, because you act surprised when your wife starts an OnlyFans and you get absolutely obliterated online for that.
How am I the simp? How am I the simp? I want to know.
I can't stress this enough. Regardless of whatever one individual's take is on sex work or OnlyFans, Ian and Anissa getting roasted for this was 110% guaranteed to happen, and they were very, very well aware of that.
Literally, our whole relationship has been like just mutual respect and understanding. Everything we've ever done, whether it's him or me, it's been like heavily talked about. Like decisions together, including this.
However, at the end of the day, they sat down, talked about it for hours on end, and still decided to release it for one reason and one reason only: greed. And when the guaranteed outcome happened to them, they cope and seethe and mauled to the point where Ian had to make this video defending sex workers, where by the end of it, he looked like Mr. Krabs, and this video was actually so defensive and filled with poor, rushed out, and intentionally cherry-picked arguments that the word simp actually reached its all-time high on Google Trends the same week that Ian released this video.
No, I'm gonna be honest, that's a serious situation. How'd you deal with that? You can't just say you were automatically cool with it.
Oh no, it sucked.
Okay.
Yeah, it sucked big time.
Did it suck?
Did it suck because of the people's comments?
Yeah.
Or? Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So at first, before they start getting at you, it didn't bother you what she was doing, you're saying?
Oh, totally. Yeah, we had talked about it.
Just think about what an unnecessary problem this is to have in life. The guy is sitting there trying to promote his boxing event, and instead of talking about boxing, he's getting asked questions about his anti-Semitic wife who does OnlyFans for fun. And he specifically said in that clip, people making fun of him for the OnlyFans did in fact bother him, and I totally get it, he's human after all, but I think that says a lot about the situation because in that sex workers video, Ian specifically said he's totally fine with it.
My girlfriend started an OnlyFans account, and I'm totally fine with dudes jacking off to pictures of her on the internet.
Obviously, these are two contradicting statements. On one hand, he's saying he's totally fine with the OnlyFans. On the other hand, a year after he made that video, he's saying those comments actually bother him, and that is a problem that means a lot more than you might think. Because I know for a fact that Ian has already read every single variation of a hate comment that could possibly exist. Once you get past like 100,000 views, there is no more original hate comments. It's just the exact same words, phrased differently due to how limited text communication is. And Ian knows this to be true. He talked about it like 10 years ago.
Not too long ago, I was a little fucking basement dweller typing away on my keyboard on YouTube and any other website for that matter. What I realized pretty fucking quickly is that the arguments and the insults are fucking arbitrary. So you move on, you grow up, you continue, you blossom as a human adult.
So it's not that Ian can't deal with hate. Any YouTuber who doesn't sue and copyright claim and strike people can handle hate in my book, and Ian did right until the point where he was put in a position where I would assume it wasn't even the words that the comments said that were upsetting him. He's most likely upset at those comments because there's actual validity to the words that people are calling him, and there's nothing he can do about it.
Stop calling me simp.
Okay. I'll admit that he's not a simp in the traditional sense, but it's quite obvious that, at least publicly, Anissa can do whatever she wants, whenever she wants to Ian, and that does make people out there perceive Ian in a worse light, given how consistently she goes out of her way to embarrass him. Even Anissa herself doesn't like cucks, by the way. It goes against what's natural.
Got your ass.
So just to summarize, as a result of our wife deciding to be greedy, despite the fact that she's already financially free, and is by her own admission pretty anti-capitalist, Ian is getting made fun of, and there's nothing he can do about it in any possible way at this point.
What am I gonna do? You think I should just like take a shotgun to her head? No, bitch. It's time to die now. No, iDubbbz, you should break up with her. But I'm cool with it.
No, Ian, don't break up with her, but you should have maybe discussed the guaranteed outcomes that I stated preemptively with your wife, and maybe you should have asked her to empathize with the fact that you're going to forever be known as a cuck and a simp if she does that, and that she's going to forever be known as the internet's girlfriend, and then weigh out the pros and cons. And then they would have realized that from an optics perspective, the OnlyFans was not a logical move, given who Ian is. This is not 2020 hindsight vision, it is common sense. And now that it's been 3 years, I can confidently say there is a 0% chance that Anissa has produced more income from OF than Ian has lost long term as a result of his own fans losing respect for him because of both Ian and Anissa's lack of respect for themselves. And I don't blame anyone for not respecting these people anymore, by the way, because in my opinion, if your wife or husband or significant other does OnlyFans as a way to produce income for themselves, they lack respect for themselves, and they have no moral compass. Because OF is funded strictly by literal basement-dwelling incels who are most likely very addicted to the consumption of adult content, and it's indefensible to knowingly take advantage of people who we all already know are at the lowest of the lows in society, all just to make some quick, easy cash. And the statistics show that the largest consumers of adult content is actually little boys aged 12 through 17, which is disgusting, especially when you take into account that OF intentionally does nothing to verify the ages of their customers so they can make more money. And that's not even mentioning the dozens of peer-reviewed studies proving the inarguable net negative impact that excessive consumption of adult content has on not just children, but adults as well. And as you would expect, those who buy OF are not the people who use it in moderation. So by making a video with the sole intention of defending sex work, Ian is proving to us all that he's anti-consumer, anti-science, pro-addiction for children, and pro-basement-dwelling incels.
Ouch, talk about toxic.
Speaking of toxic, a lot of people online have claimed that Anissa ruined Ian's life.
My biggest, I mean, there's like some days where I ask Ian, like, have I ruined your life?
Anissa, if you even have to think about asking someone if you've ruined their life, the answer is
yes.
In all seriousness, if Anissa did actually ruin Ian's life, that's Ian's fault, not Anissa's. I think there's a lot of people out there that unironically think about Ian and Anissa's relationship like this.
My beautiful boy. I should have told you how valuable you are! To not be swayed by some succubus! By some creature! Hands out! Palms facing the sun, willing to prey on your misguidance!
And I just think it is a massive cop-out to place blame for Ian's actions on the alleged succubus. Ian is a grown adult who fully understands the fundamental differences between right and wrong, and if he's okay with his own wife constantly embarrassing him online in front of millions of people without even hinting at the fact that she should maybe stop this behavior, that is Ian's fault for allowing himself to be treated that way.
So for Ian, for example, like, I would say trashy or trailer park would be one. Untucked or like a bit unorganized and like simple, right?
White.
Well, that goes with trailer trash.
Okay.
Once or twice or 5, maybe even 10 times, I totally get it. We all make mistakes, and nobody's perfect. But when it happens consistently, at a certain point, you are proving that you're complicit in the toxic behavior of your partner. So to put a majority of the blame for Ian's self-inflicted downfall on Anissa would be removing the agency for Ian as an adult, and I just don't think that's fair at all, to be honest. In my opinion, the easiest solution to any of this is not that they need to break up, but at the very least, they just shouldn't make content together. I think Ian should do what every other married content creator does, which is go on podcasts and do his live streams on his own, and ideally his personal life can stay completely out of the public eye, because at the end of the day, it's none of our business.
Because since I've known you, you've always had like IBS. You've always been shitting yourself.
And also, what every single inch of Anissa's body looks like is none of our business as well.
And I make crazy money off of like lingerie.
Yeah, that's cap. I'm sorry, Anissa. Nobody's buying that shit. People literally post your OF pictures for free in the replies to your tweets.
She belongs to the streets.
It seems really fucking sexist and creepy for you to be saying these things.
That's like misogynistic.
You the one being misogynistic. I ain't mentioning her gender. You the one bringing up her being a woman and shit. I don't give a fuck about her gender. Okay. I'm an equal opportunity ass woman.
And I do have to say though, Ian has become by far the #1 advocate for the Red Pill movement on this earth today. I genuinely believe that Ian has converted more disenfranchised young men to the Red Pill than Andrew Tate, Sneeko, and Fresh and Fit combined as a result of his public emasculation, and that, I will admit, is Anissa's fault.
Stop being so mean to me or I swear to God I'm gonna fall in love with you.
We're here to talk about our woke liberal boxing event.
Today I'm going to be harshly judging and categorizing children's playground equipment using a political compass. So for instance, you have the talking tubes. That's a liberal piece of playground equipment. And then you got the jungle gym. The jungle gym, that's obviously libertarian. You have the freedom to climb to the top of it, but also the freedom to fracture your skull. And then you got the happy little animals that go back and forth on springs. Those are fascism.
Politics is great for your mental health, and the people that are heavily involved with politics tend to be some of the most sane, rational beings of our time.
Transphobic, transphobia, transphobic. Everyone is transphobic. Trans people are transphobic.
I love nothing more than fucking pronouns! Fucking gender ambiguity! Fucking current day Californian shit!
And our genius, mature friend over here, Ian, has recently decided to become more politically active. And yet again, this is in sharp contrast to the past when he was not a politically motivated person at all, despite what the history revisionists want to try and tell people.
I think you claim conservatism more than you actually were, though. Because, like, I'm looking at your old stuff, like, I'm looking at your content cops and stuff like that I watched in the past, like, outside of your free speech absolutist position, it didn't seem like you were, you know, any different than any other content creator on YouTube in that same era. As a matter of fact, you were probably, like, more towards the center or left than most content creators of that era, because you were shitting on the most, like, right-wing content creators of that era. Maybe not, like, officially positioning yourself as that, but it did feel like, I mean, you were, like, you dug on Star and Rice Gum. Like, obviously, these are apolitical people, but they're still, like, very heavily slanted to the right.
Are you autistic?
Everything I said about
iDubbbz.
It's true, you fucking idiot.
I think I'm on the spectrum.
Wympy, another person like that, like these, and some of them have come out about their position, come out with their political positions, but like I would say that they were still like very much like the attitude that they resemble was very much like right wing. You know what I mean?
What Hassan is doing here is trying to reintroduce Ian to his audience as someone who's always been one of them, which is just not true. If you go back and watch all of Ian's old content, one thing that is very, very clear is that Ian was not a political person at all in the past, right or left. Although he would make a joke every now and then about SJWs or Trump or whatever was in the news at the time.
My name is Erica. I'm a poor, queer, disabled trans woman and have been screwed over related systems of oppression. Yes, I've been oppressed for the following reasons. Not because I'm a bitch. It couldn't possibly be because I have a shitty work ethic. Couldn't be anything that's related to my attitude and the way I conduct myself. It has to be all the things about me that everyone else hates.
Let's upgrade the conversation about politics. The best way of doing that is drinking, because everyone becomes more coherent after a few beers. Trump is a faggot. Trump's China thing kind of makes a bit of sense.
Trump has not coherently explained what he is going.
And what motivated me to even begin making this video in the first place was actually politics. Not because I disagree with his opinions. You're more than welcome to have any political opinion you want. I don't care, because frankly, I don't even know if we're the good guys or the bad guys.
But I know the libs are bad.
Yup.
Yeah. I know those fucking libs are bad. I'm back, right?
Back.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
you're
know
back.
those fucking libs, dude. We gotta own those libs, dude. Why don't you react to this, Liz? Hey, Liz, come react to that.
Get triggered by that, you know what I mean?
Oh my god, they're so triggered, dude.
They're so triggered all the time, dude. Thank God we're never triggered by anything except the things that trigger us.
Yeah. And those are okay to be triggered by.
Those are okay to be triggered. I mean, fucking God said so.
Yeah.
Or whoever else. Ron DeSantis.
Yes.
Because God and Ron DeSantis.
And God and Ron DeSantis made it possible for me to stumble across one of Ian's charity live streams on Twitch. I just wanted to check up on the guy, hoping he was doing a little better since I made my last video on him, and I swear, I am not making this up. The first thing I heard once I joined his stream was this.
Is he asleep? No, he's reading Twitter right now.
Yeah, sorry. I just saw Keffel's tweet, like, shitting on Nicholas Diorio. I fucking love that community. God damn. That's so fucking cool.
Yeah. Keffel's appreciated the shout out. She messaged me.
Nice. That's fucking rad.
I've been doing a lot of growing over the, you know, these, I don't know.
Initially, I thought social intelligence was a necessity to get a lot of subscribers on YouTube, but I guess not. Now, if you don't know who Keffels is, I'm not going to go into detail about who this person is, because I think this one clip tells you basically everything you need to know.
Nicholas Dorio's not of that opinion, of course. He's basically a fascist. I'm not going to get into all of that. I would just recommend watching the newest video.
How about new?
I know Nick, and I can confidently say that Nicholas Diorio is not a fascist in any possible way, shape, or form. There's not an ounce of evidence that exists on this planet that proves that Nicholas Diorio, a commentary YouTuber who used to make videos on people like Ethan Klein and Deji, follows the same political ideology as Hitler and Mussolini. However, because this is the community that Ian is intentionally trying to pander to now, he has no choice but to side with undeniable far-left extremists like Keffels that perpetuate this type of blatant misinformation and usage of buzzword ad hominem attacks instead of actually attacking the arguments at hand. But I think I know the real reason why Ian likes Keffels so much.
Because, like, I'm not a cuck. So first of all, I'm not a cuck tipster.
Okay.
But I have been in a relationship where I watch my partner have sex with another person. But I'm not a cuck. It's like I'm not
You're Sneeko. You're literally Sneeko. Right?
In all seriousness, I suspect that Ian's choice to get more involved in politics was primarily motivated by two things. Number one would be sex work. Ever since his wife Anissa decided to make her OnlyFans, Ian doesn't really have much of a choice but to hold the position that sex work is good and moral.
When she started an OnlyFans, I realized that the audience that I cultivated
turned on you.
Yeah, or a portion of them. I'd say like maybe half.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this shit sucks. That's when everything snapped.
And obviously the progressive position regarding sex work is more accepting, so I will admit it's at the very least an understandable bias towards sex workers, given the fact that his wife is one. Number two would be Twitter. If we take a look at Ian's Twitter account, he has liked 60,000 posts on Twitter, and a decent amount of the posts that he likes are political. And to be frank about this, going on Twitter, or really any social media this often, is a mental illness. And coincidentally, Anissa is just as addicted to Twitter, if not more than Ian, and obviously having two grown adults who are statistically and inarguably addicted to Twitter living in the same household is a recipe for disaster. That's how you end up with incredible takes like this.
I'm not gonna lie, Ethan. I go to your subreddit all the time for like a break from the insanity. It's like the only sane place on the internet, I swear to God.
That's the first time I've heard that.
Wow, that's wow. That's a new one
Compared to
for
what
sure.
I see.
Mention men and some women of the H3 subreddit. Stop referring to women as females. So there is a movement to request to men and all people to stop saying female as well.
It's like the only sane place on the internet, I swear to God.
Female doctors make on average $228,000 per year. Female clothing.
I swear to God.
Female clothing. She's a female rapper. That's okay. Still out there saying female. Why are you dressed as a female? I mean, you look like a female and you don't have a penis, so presumably.
To really put into perspective how ridiculously high this 60,000 number is, my friend Boblax has had his Twitter account since 2011, and he's liked 45,000 tweets since then, and his full-time job is literally just being on Twitter and documenting and archiving Twitter dramas for YouTube. And when you consume as much partisan political content as Ian and Anissa have over these past few years, left or right, you are going to end up with something called political brain rot, which is essentially when you see everything through some weird political team sports lens, rather than actually acknowledging the reality of what can reasonably happen in a particular situation.
Man, this country sucks. It'd be so much better if we're in the US, because we would have seen probably like 5 Trump signs by this point, an anti-abortion billboard, and this would be a Walmart. This would be a really cool Walmart supercenter where you can get your eyes checked and you can file your taxes.
And Ian's political brain rot is significantly worse than just randomly thinking about Trump in the middle of the highway. For example, there's the infamous mask situation from his Sam Hyde documentary.
Are you supposed to wear a mask at the drive-thru here?
No, you just put your shirt over your face.
Do you do that?
What, this?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? As opposed to what, putting a fucking mask on?
Yeah, it's a little cringe, don't you think?
What, covering your face with a t-shirt?
Yeah.
You think putting a mask on is less cringe than covering
Yeah.
your face with a t-shirt?
Yeah.
Dude. You gotta get out of
With the
California.
mask?
You just reported me for not having a mask. You can take that mask off now. I like to pretend the Chick-fil-A girls are my own private harem and they exist to serve. Take the mask off, Jesus Christ. They exist to serve me.
Who doesn't like the masks?
What are you gonna get a virus through the speakers in the drive-thru? This is the same guy who made a whole video calling out anti-maskers, and that was totally deserved, by the way. I mean, just look at this guy. He's like 65 years old and he almost snapped his knee in half because he didn't want to put on a mask. But after all that growth and maturity, and after 10 years of experience making videos, I would have expected that Ian's position on this would be a tad bit more nuanced, as opposed to just calling other people cringe because he's acting scientifically illiterate on video. He's trying to paint this picture that Sam is an anti-masker, which is why he specifically chose to include this clip in the documentary, which Sam might be. In fact, he probably is. I would bet a lot of money on that. But in no way does not wearing a mask in a drive-thru prove that. And look, the issue is not that Ian wore a mask in the drive-thru or that he's a liberal, but the political opinions only become a problem when you're a content creator and your political opinions start to negatively impact the content you put out into the world, even though you didn't even build your following by making explicitly political videos.
A group of fucking white supremacists are walking on the side of the road. That's a oh no, those are bison. Those are bison. They look like men from very far away.
Okay, maybe that was just a joke, but what wasn't a joke was this recent interview he did, where the person interviewing him tries really hard to make a big deal about the fact that the only person Ian apologized to directly was Tana Mongoose. And she tries to make it some sort of a race issue solely based on the fact that Tana has skin that is white, and Ian also has skin that is white.
Notably though, in his apology, he singled out only one creator. At first, the only name he singles out to apologize to in this video
is a white woman.
Francesca, okay, we're right here. We are right.
I mean, you know, I clocked that immediately. The irony of him devoting a substantial part of that video directly to Tana.
In watching your video, a thing I wanted to ask you about was, how come Tana, of all the, you only singled out one person to apologize to? Why her? What I really want to unpack is the decision to apologize her exclusively.
However, if this woman had done even a second of research prior to interviewing this guy with 7 million subscribers, she'd know that Tana was by far the youngest person he ever made a video on.
I can't believe we literally harassed an 18-year-old child.
And Tana's also the only one where he drove multiple hours just to show up to her in-person event to do this.
Say
oh yeah, and Tana also has an OnlyFans, and as we all know, Ian's into that kind of stuff.
I'm sort of a cuckold man myself. Please have a great time.
So yeah, Ian absolutely did not apologize to Tana because of the color of their skin, and frankly, only someone with a severe case of political brain rot would look at this irrefutable example of not being racially motivated and still try and imply racially motivated intent. However, these are the types of people that Ian is comfortable promoting to his audience now, and it's just comical to me that he's intentionally chosen to pander to the exact same community, which would have been the first ones to try and cancel him and ruin his life, especially when they admitted they would have canceled him if they could have, right to his face.
Because if we had the ability to cancel you, you wouldn't have been successful in the first place.
So for Ian to intentionally pander to the far left is just not a smart move to make, especially if he has any sort of intention to go back to making comedic content ever again. Now, can you make comedic content without being super edgy or offensive? 100%. Just look at my guy J Station.
What's poppin', guys? Back with another banger video.
But for Ian to have gone from being known as exclusively anti-PC,
your style is very anti-PC. Is that by intention or are you just expressing yourself?
It is by intention.
To the most PC possible person on this earth,
am I allowed to cuss on that?
Is just not a positive change at all. There's not an ounce of nuance with this guy. Everything is black and white. There is no middle ground, and that is just not healthy in any way. One thing I'll give him credit for is at least he's still ideologically consistent. He went from it's all okay to none of it's okay.
Some people call him Pusabi. I don't want to call him that because I think that's demeaning to women.
But for Ian to know that he was known exclusively for being anti-PC and to still go out of his way to pander to the exact same group of people that were sitting there in their rooms by themselves getting pissed at a screen instead of just clicking off the free video is not a smart move, especially given who Ian is. I mean, I could have just easily replaced the intro to this video with this.
In today's episode, we're going to check out a channel that's best known for the phrase nigger.
Moving forward, Ian will be held to an increasingly high ethical standard, which will inevitably become impossible for him to maintain, and he has 100% brought that upon himself.
I know that this apology isn't enough. I've clearly done a lot of damage.
So Ian, tell the people exactly what in the world is enough. He cannot and will not ever specify because there is no end in sight given the way he's played his cards in this situation.
I shouldn't be able to just make an apology video and walk away from it.
This guy's gonna be in an endless apology cycle for the rest of his career online at this rate. But even the endless apologies isn't enough. Apparently, Ian now needs to get his checkbook out and check his white privilege and build up some black creators solely based on the fact that they are black.
You go look at the private videos on the videos, every video you did, every content pop on Jinx, what you did to you, what you did to all them, and what was the revenue on those videos? And pay and cuts and checks. Whether we like it or not, I can't crush your platform, nobody else can either. You're gonna have one, you're gonna still have this audience. So if you have the benefit, your white privilege is that you have the ability to maintain your platform and continue to grow. I think a way that you step forward, a way you atone that is to change the lack of, the way the black people's platforms that you brought down, bring some black people's platforms up. You know what I mean? And listen, in some respect, I will consider your presence here, you taking the step in to getting on the black side of the internet. but I do think that is a way you can concretely do something. Like take a look at the privated videos or whatever videos it is where you targeted whatever content creators and look and see how much did that make or what was this, and like sit down and try to like piece by piece, what can we do about this? How can we reach out to these folk? And I think that can make that shows some kind of material step, you know, like, you know what, I acknowledging that it's not just that you built your platform off of, you know, some bigoted content, because that's not innately the problem. It's that you also destroyed black platforms. And so I think that's where a good place for you to kind of move forward. And that was an idea I wanted to bring to you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think that's a good idea. And yeah, I'm going to take your advice on that.
What a load of fucking rubbish. It's a scam. He's a con artist. He's been doing this for a very long time. I mean, it's only been
5 months
since I made part 1, but he's still the same fucking worm he's always been.
In case you guys didn't know, Ian was presented with the opportunity to do an interview with Colossal is Crazy. If you're familiar with Colossal, you'd know that hardly anyone can relate to Ian's old style of content better than Colossal can. They're around the same age, and Colossal has a unique ability to provide a deeper insight into Ian's actual mindset on certain topics more than anyone else on the entire planet. So what does Ian decide to do? He goes on the podcast of this far-left extremist with 30,000 subscribers who unironically asked him to pay black people money because they have skin that is black.
Ldubbbz, you're a piece of chat. Please log off the Ethernet.
Seriously, if you're going to use your platform of 7 million subscribers to promote political extremism left or right, and you didn't even gain those subscribers through making political content, just log off the internet permanently. The fact of the matter is, anyone with more than 2 brain cells already knows what an extremist's take is going to be on any subject before they even open their mouth. So if everyone already knows what you're going to say, what is the point of any non-political extremist listening to you talk? But I'm not going to lie, it is incredibly satisfying to watch Ian in these types of situations, knowing that
this is the path that I chose.
And now, every time he opens his mouth, he has to make sure he doesn't get canceled by people who use Twitter for more than 4 hours a day.
One day, you are going to get sloppy, and your entire life is going to collapse like a house of cards. And when that day comes, no one will be there to help you.
And not only is Ian pandering to the far left, if that wasn't bad enough on its own, he's also managed to simultaneously turn his YouTube channel into an alt-right pipeline.
Shut up. Be serious for me.
I'm actually not joking.
I'm just smoking crack.
Okay, just hear me out. If you watch the documentary that Ian made on Sam Hyde, and you really pay attention to it, it's essentially just an advertisement for Sam Hyde and his channel, given how embarrassing Ian acted in it.
You gotta get jacked, even if you start lifting.
Yeah, I lift. My girlfriend got me into lifting.
Okay. Well, see, there you go. Take that good advice.
Yeah.
From her, not from me.
Wow, would you look at that? This video has almost 6 million views, and I and millions of others across the world only know who Sam Hyde is because of Ian Jomha's existence on this earth. So by leaving this video up and continuing to monetize it, he is actively profiting off of what he himself describes as alt-right.
So with the context that Sam openly aligns himself with the alt-right and white supremacy and misogynistic stuff, it's hard to write off any of the ironic stuff as just ironic.
And let's not forget, Ian also sold alt-right merch.
We have this artifact that you can purchase today. It was going to be difficult to monetize this video any other way, so I really do appreciate your support. It is a good design. The artist really worked hard on it, and it honestly encapsulates the part of the documentary that I enjoy the most, which is the goof-tacular kind of elements.
And for some reason, ever since I watched that Sam Hyde documentary for the first time, I've become a full-on Yay24, Sneeko, Alex Jones, and Sam Hyde stan who just can't get the alt-right propaganda off of my Rumble recommended feed for some reason.
Go straight back to the communist hellhole you came from, scum. I'll say whatever I want.
And of course, let's not forget, guys.
I just want to make it clear that I am absolutely responsible for my audience.
I mean, seriously, let's just play this out for a second here. If the alt-right pipeline cancellation tactic doesn't work, we can resort to calling him anti-Semitic.
Fine brothers, more like revenue brothers. Revenue brothers, more like money-grubbing Jews. Money-grubbing Jews, end their fucking career. End their career, I say lynch them. Lynch those brothers. Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler, another great book. Thanks, guys.
We gotta head home. We have it's Passover today, actually.
Oh. Congratulations.
Well, Passover's about the Jews escaping slavery, right?
Okay, drop him. He's a racist and an anti-Semite.
Or maybe we can call him ableist, fatphobic, and homophobic for making fun of Scarce.
Don't subscribe to Scarce. I know I'm months behind on this one, but subscribe to Scarce when his content gets better. Scarce is overweight, but more importantly than that, Scarce is boring. I'm gay.
Do you guys see how easy this is?
I'm an actor, human chameleon.
And when, not if he makes that mistake, these people that Ian is trying to pander to now will eat him alive for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And to be honest, I'll be happy to watch it happen because Ian has made his bed and now he has to sleep in it. Ethan Decline has exactly what Ian, by his own admission, is trying to build now.
I don't know, it's inspiring to, to see you and the whole crew, build such a nice community. I look forward to doing that for myself in the future.
Today we have no sponsors because I am an existential threat to gay rights and all progress. So, of course, our wonderful fans have taken it upon themselves to write all of our sponsors.
I look forward to doing that for myself in the future.
And Ethan is also massively successful just like Ian. There's no denying that. But coincidentally, he seems to be getting more miserable, sedated, and insufferable with each and every day that passes.
I have depression. I'm medicated for that shit. 20 milligrams Loungescore every fucking day. My dick feels like a piece of wood. Like I have no sensation in my penis. Side effect. And I'm fat, by the way. Also a side effect.
Wow, Ethan, that sounds very inspiring, man. And just like Ian, he has this really weird thing going on where he has to verbally claim to have grown and matured, even though he was 30 years old in this picture doing blackface.
We both used to be like edgy comedians and we were a part of the larger commentary community. And as we've aged, we've realized that you want to conduct yourself differently.
But then, in that exact same podcast episode, here's Ethan mocking Dr. Mike's trauma about the loss of his mother.
I've been boxing for 10 years ever since my mom passed away, and it's been such a...
He's fighting with the spirit of his dead mom, too.
I don't have any of that.
Yeah, your mom's alive, right?
Yeah.
Nah, see? I'm just saying, bro. You don't got what he's got. His mom died, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
What? No mature adult would ever allow anyone to publicly make comments about the death of somebody's mother like that, regardless of whether or not you like that person. Once, okay, mistakes happen, but twice and you don't say a word, you're objectively not a mature person.
And guess what? I won't let you fucking forget it. I will hold that shit over your head, and if you fucking blink in my direction, I'm gonna hold that shit over your head.
And Ian's lack of action in this situation and Ethan's blatant hypocrisy in that podcast is a perfect representation about how these guys just want everyone to blindly believe they've changed just because they verbally tell people they did.
And as we've aged, we've realized that, you want to conduct yourself differently.
And that sounds great, but they don't actually conduct themselves any differently, and they aren't changing in good faith. These guys are still the same racist, weird, edgy, basement-dwelling losers they were 5 years ago.
There was just a lot of things that Ian had never experienced or understood, like he had never met a Muslim before, and then he ended up marrying one.
Boy, ain't no way, boy. Boy, ain't no way, boy.
Lying is haram.
I don't have any black friends. I have some friends who are people of color.
You know what's crazy? I grew up in the suburbs of Los Angeles, Ventura.
Yes.
And I don't think I've ever known a black person.
What? I know it's fucked up. It's fucked up, but I've never been in a situation in my life where I've been in close proximity with black people. I've never known a black person.
Are you being serious?
Yes, I'm serious.
I was just in California, and I can assure you, from first-hand experience, the only way these two could have made it more than 30 years of life without knowing a single African-American person, given the thousands of opportunities they've had to meet a diverse group of other YouTubers over the years, is by having inherent prejudices. We're talking about California here, not Utah.
I know I'm not racist. I know I have prejudices, right? I'm working on it. I have prejudices. I think most people have prejudices. Not racist. I don't think so. You know, I can even admit that, you know, at times I think and do racist things.
The only difference between these two then and now is that they now cave to societal pressures as opposed to not caring about those things like they did in the past, and they only started to mature right around the same time it became financially viable to do so and dangerous not to, which I can assure you is not just some coincidence.
Alpha, beta, cuck.
Ultimately, growing up is not becoming a grifter. Growing up is realizing that going from intentionally attracting basement-dwelling incels to intentionally attracting chronically online Twitter social justice warriors who statistically don't support you even 1/4 as much as your old fans did is not a positive change in any way. It's just going from one weird audience to another.
Let's not forget the biggest reason we're here, fellas. This being one of the greatest charity events that you will find. 15 charities here tonight. So blessed and honored. Thank you to Anissa. Thank you to iDubbbz. Thank you to everyone that supported this awesome event. We're all here for charity, and it's a win-win. We all raise a ton of money for charity. This is a great thing. That's not the biggest thing I need to tell you guys right now, because the main reason we are here tonight, gentlemen, is for charity. It's for charity. We're making fortune for charity, so expect everyone on this part. And we raise some fucking money for charity! Yeah! Let's go! People here are here because of Ian and his missus. They're doing a great job. Raise fortune for charity.
He lost money and there's no money for charity.
Ha ha! Rip Bozo! Rest in peace!
Creator Clash is not a charity event. Creator Clash is an event which is focused on moral grandstanding and the self-serving interests of Ian and Anissa to show everyone how much money they donate to charity, rather than the founders doing everything in their power to entertain those who are the only reason why the event even has the ability to exist in the first place, the fans. With that being said, I have to preface this by saying that Creator Clash donated more than $1 million to charity after the first event, and regardless of their intentions in doing so, that is still a great selfless deed that deserves at least some praise. However, the issue with Creator Clash is the fact that they weaponize the charity aspect against their fans as a shield from criticism.
It's about the charity that I'm fundraising for. You're going to turn on charities?
It's all for charity, of course. I'm such a big proponent of doing things for charity.
Yeah, I'm boxing for charity. It's a good cause.
Unfortunately, all that charity virtue signaling BS did not work out, as Harley and Alana were just protecting the money that they were supposed to be getting paid from this charity event, as it's now been 100% confirmed that Creator Clash is just not a charity event.
All the fighters are receiving a purse to fight. Now, what I'm willing to do to show you how dedicated I am to charity, I'm willing to donate the rest of my purse to charity, as well as my portion of profits from ticket sales and pay-per-view sales that all the fighters are splitting. I'll donate both of those to charity.
So just to set the record straight here, Creator Clash is an event which spends however much money as they want with the money they raised from their fans, which, by the way, is very different from donating your own money, then attempts to maybe donate money to charity with the leftover proceeds. And the problem with that is the fact that they mislead their fans by making charts like this, comparing themselves to other influencer boxing events as a way to prove superiority, just so they can get away with constantly bragging about the fact that they donate to charity.
You didn't know, this is a charity event. This will all be for a charity event. Creator Clash, this is a charity event. This is a charity event, and you see, because Creator Clash is not a normal creator event, this is a charity event, and you see.
I want to win, and I like charity. I just think that fighting is cool, and charities are nice. To raise money for charity.
The Creator Clash also donated a lot of their proceeds to charity.
Over $1 million for charity, so fantastic. Yes, all the profits are going to charity.
Yeah. We lost money and there's no money for charity.
Just think about it like this. Does this sound like a charity boxing event to you?
To everybody who came out here tonight, this is for a great cause. Proceeds are going to charity. That's why I did this. I also did this for money. I ain't gonna lie, just keeping it real.
So what's the allure of doing a boxing match like this?
Money. You know, the competitive spirit runs deep in me, and yeah, money.
And look, I really appreciate the work that a majority of creators do for the general public. I am not against creators making money, as long as they're not scamming anyone and certain unethical sponsors. But I do have an issue with the fact that they call this a charity event without being transparent about the financial structure of the event.
That money that was given to him is just taken out of charity at this point.
Ian and Anissa deliberately avoid posting financials on their website, and to the best of my knowledge, they aren't registered as a non-profit charity organization. They haven't filed any 501c forms, which would require them to publish their finances, and I can assure you, this lack of transparency is not coincidental. That was an intentional move. If the general public had access to their financials, I guarantee this video would have at least 10 times more dislikes, because the fighters getting paid a percentage of the pay-per-view sales is in addition to all of the other exorbitant amount of expenses the event organizers burn through, like how they use the money they raise for charity to buy some red carpet gala so Ian could process his trauma better.
We also had events the day before the fight and the day after the fight, so that fighters and friends and family could come together and process their trauma. That was sort of paramount for me, because the first year we did the fight and then I went to bed. I got the shit kicked out of me by Dr. Mike, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up, the hotel was empty, and then I got on a flight and traveled 5 hours with my face completely swollen back to Seattle, and I was like, that was cool, that was so worth it. There was nothing, there was no processing my trauma, there was no talking to anyone and relating about the experience afterward. Everyone was gone, and that shit felt awful. So yeah, some of these things that might seem extraneous, in my opinion, were entirely necessary, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
If Ian wants to process his trauma, that's totally fine, but why did he not use his own money to process his own trauma? If you're gonna call your event a charity event, you should be doing things that are at the very least sort of in the best interests of the charities, not the exact opposite. And either way, people can see right through this garbage. Ian's involvement with charities over the past 2 years, as soon as his reputation started dwindling, is the same thing as Andrew Tate starting to publicly donate money to charity as soon as he gets canceled and arrested for trafficking. Obviously, Tate's case is a bit more extreme, but their goal behind doing these good deeds is so the general public perceives them in a better light. And as the old iDubbbz himself once said,
no helping hand mentions how much they help people that much. That is a slimy asshole thing to do.
And not only do they often mention how much they help people, they come off as pretentious when they do it. And if we compare them to someone like Mr. Beast, he's personally raised infinitely more money for charity than Ian and Anissa ever have, and not once have I seen him come across like he's superior to anyone else for doing so, unlike Ian.
There's a lot of boxing events where no money goes to charity at all, ever. There's not even the chance that it goes to charity.
Yeah, I'm fucking better than you, okay? Much better than you. You are garbage.
But the lack of transparency and weaponization of the charity aspect of Creator Clash was only one of the many reasons why Creator Clash 2 lost
$250,000 on the event.
In my opinion, the main reason why Creator Clash 2 failed is because if we just take a quick look at the complete lineup for Creator Clash 2, I don't know who a majority of these people are, and I'm a full-time YouTuber. So if I don't know who most of these people are, there's a lot of other people out there who also have no idea who a lot of these people are either. They also went from 18 fighters in Creator Clash 1 to 24 in Creator Clash 2, which is ridiculous. If you want to do a full card and not just focus on the main events, the card needs to be quality over quantity. That's just common sense. And by the way, if the fighters are getting paid $20,000 each, those completely unnecessary 8 extra fighters got paid $160,000.
This is a straight scam!
If you want to get people to pay money for something that they know they can watch for free the next day, people need to be emotionally invested into the fights. But nobody cares about the majority of these fights because Creator Clash's marketing is possibly the worst thing I've ever seen. They try and rebrand the entire sport to be nice. It seems like they want to do respectful boxing, but the fact of the matter is, our little monkey brains do not want to see two friends fight each other. We want to see two enemies get into the ring and obliterate each other's faces. This has been going on since the Roman Empire was around, and it's probably not going to change anytime soon. However, because Ian and Anissa and the rest of the Creator Clash crew are so not toxic nowadays, they decided it would be smart to just not do any sort of build-up prior to the event.
All in all, guys, our event is going to be a different event. We are not obsessed with forcing drama on people. I don't want our fighters to embarrass themselves. If they do, they do. If they end up beefing, they end up beefing. If they end up knocking each other out, they knock each other out. The whole thing is a mystery.
The problem is the whole thing is a little bit too much of a mystery. According to Ian's own fans, a lot of people didn't even know the event was taking place when it did, because they don't even do press conferences for Creator Clash until the day before the event. And not only do the fighters almost never trash talk each other, the fighters rarely even interact publicly between one another before the fights in a way that actually draws attention. And when you combine that with the fact that most people don't know who the average person is on one of these cards, that means a very, very small percentage of people were emotionally invested into any of these fights at all. There's a reason why fights typically have a bunch of exaggerated public buildup prior to the event, and that's to get people emotionally invested into the fights to ensure that people actually tune in on the night the fight takes place instead of just watching the highlights for free the next day. And although a lot of fight buildup is fake and corny and they're basically just talking so they can sell more tickets, they do these things because it works. However, because the main promoter for Creator Clash is Anissa, I think she genuinely believes that giving your opponent the silent treatment is the best way to get people interested in your event.
He wants Jerry Springer.
Yeah. Right.
Right? Like, that's kind of like Jerry Springer, but with like severe head injuries, basically.
But I don't think anybody else wants that.
No.
You're already asking people to do a lot, and I think if Keemstar had like an actual boxing event that he was putting on, and he said like, "Hey guys, I'm doing Jerry Springer boxing," and you had our event, I think most people would be like, "Oh, I'm going with your guys' event, not Keemstar's," because that's so much to ask.
Again, zero nuance. There's a totally reasonable middle ground between the silent treatment and Jerry Springer boxing. However, instead of actually choosing to market their own event, the founders chose to punish the only guy on the card who actually marketed the event in a way that got people's attention.
If I don't hurt you beyond what anybody could have imagined, I will be so disappointed in myself that I will subscribe to Anissa's OnlyFans.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
What?
Shortly after releasing that video to the general public, Froggy Fresh was kicked off the Creator Clash 2 card after months and months of training. Ian, of course, did not address this until after Creator Clash 2 took place. Instead, the only thing Creator Clash said prior to the event was this garbage statement which got 6 million views and 7,000 likes, which proves that this was a definitively horrible PR move and made people not want to support the event. But after the event, Ian made this video called Addressing the Froggy Fresh Drama, and essentially what he said is that he didn't kick Froggy because of that video. Instead, he kicked him out because he made Twitter posts with Sam Hyde.
The main reason Froggy was kicked from the card was for collaborating with Sam Hyde. And, for anyone who's been following the story, that's, fairly obvious. Froggy has explained, his side of the story multiple times. And unfortunately, he's been perpetuating a narrative that it's about OnlyFans or that it's about Anissa's mom. And that's extremely deceptive because he knows why he was kicked from the card. The one indication I gave him was Sam Hyde, and I wasn't unclear about that.
Okay, so I totally understand Ian personally not wanting to associate with Sam Hyde given the things he said about his wife.
I don't think so, Anissa. Oh, fucking Anissa. What an ugly piece of shit. But look how beat she is. Oh,
bruh.
Nice jack-o'-lantern teeth. I can't wait to see what she looks like when she's 32. Her teeth look like a pumpkin head. It's the Anissa Joe on the whole stretch.
But for him to kick Froggy because a grown adult posted pictures with another grown adult is ridiculous. If Froggy had come out and said, "I agree with everything Sam Hyde has ever said about Anissa," that's another story. If Sam had no experience in boxing and Froggy was just posting pictures with him just to troll Ian, that would make sense. But all he did was post pictures of them training. That is not a rational response to that action. And either way, it is so hypocritical for iDubbbz, of all people, to state that nobody can even post pictures with Sam Hyde because nobody on this earth has a more popular collaboration with Sam Hyde than Ian Jomha. And Ian's collab is not just pictures, it is a 1-hour documentary that he literally used as a tool to launch Creator Clash 1. And Ian is the one who consciously and knowingly gave a second wind to Sam's career. And you could say, well, that was before Sam said X, Y, and Z. Well, Sam has not changed since these two met up. He's the exact same, and Ian knew who Sam was online very, very well before he ever went out to Rhode Island. And he also knew that if he didn't play his cards right, things wouldn't turn out well for him. And by kicking Froggy and by not being transparent from day one with his audience, and instead making vague corporate Twitter posts like this, Ian only brought even more attention to Sam and made him infinitely more connected to Creator Clash than he would have if he had simply just ignored the pictures that Froggy posted. So at the end of the day, it's his event. He has every right to kick anyone that he wants, but the court of public opinion has proven that this was not a good move, and that ended up hurting the pay-per-view sales, which hurt the charities. And if that wasn't bad enough, Ian also threatened to sue Froggy Fresh in writing if he didn't send back the money that Froggy had spent on training, which is just absurd, and of course he doesn't touch on that in this video, and somehow that's not even the worst part. The worst part is the fact that in true Weasel fashion, Ian used clips from after he kicked Froggy in an attempt to show the world that Froggy is a bad person who deserved to be kicked out.
For anyone who's under the impression that Froggy has been like reasonable and chill and respectful through this whole process, he hasn't been. He's been a piece of shit. I'm not happy with how he's behaved. He's talked mad shit about me.
Ian doesn't want people who are bigger and more talented than him upstaging him. That's what it is.
Anissa.
Ian's masculinity has been completely removed via Anissa.
Participants of the event.
This is really a lot of weird, tender, soft people. Creator Clash people are real, like, these type of people. You know what I mean?
The event itself.
This is really like the patty cake league for like social media boxing.
He doesn't like the culture of Creator Clash, and he mentioned that.
And Chris Raygun and all these people, it's like some big ethos worshiping party at these things.
Look at this physique. Do you think Froggy just woke up one day and magically ended up looking like this? Or did he spend hundreds of hours training just for this one event on one specific night? So of course he's gonna be upset at Ian. In fact, given the quantity of time that he spent training for this fight, Froggy would be 100% justified in saying things that are 10 times worse than what he said. But Ian intentionally doesn't make that clear that those videos are from after Froggy got kicked from the event, which is meant to deceive people, which shows that Ian does not care about the truth. He couldn't possibly care less about taking accountability for the mistakes that he makes. This video was nothing but an attempt at bullying a smaller creator into shutting up, and all Ian has accomplished over the last few years is he's gone from punching up to punching down. And
that's not acceptable.
Speaking of punching down, let's talk about the Creator Clash main events, because ultimately that's what sells tickets. However, in both of the Creator Clash events we've had the pleasure of witnessing, the main event has always been Ian boxing people who are better at boxing than him in every single aspect. And I think I know why he chooses to do this.
I think it's always a little bit emasculating when you're boxing someone who has more boxing experience than you.
And on that note of emasculation, in the first Creator Clash event, Ian fought this guy named Dr. Mike, which was a ridiculous fight. Ian had to gain 40 pounds just to fight a guy who had 10 more years of boxing experience than him.
I know what you're thinking. Dr. Mike has 10 years of boxing experience. I don't care. I don't care if he does, because I'm still going to win.
12 seconds later.
I got the shit kicked out of me by Dr. Mike.
And to make it even worse, that was Ian's first time ever even playing a sport.
I have never been in competitive sports at all.
And of course, Ian got the living crap kicked out of him because Dr. Mike had every advantage known to mankind. Plus, there's the fact that Ian and his wife laughed at the death of his mother on video twice. So obviously he brutally destroyed Ian's face.
Yeah, he came in very hot. He damaged my face quite a bit. I'm a little less damaged than last year.
No, you're a lot less damaged.
Yeah, I'm a lot less damaged, she says.
Last year he looked like Goonies.
Yeah. Yeah, last year my nose was like a lot more swollen.
And then, in Creator Clash 2, Ian went on to fight Alex Wasabi, who again was in better shape than him, more experienced than him, and just a better boxer than him. And obviously he lost. And look, it's not that it's bad for Ian to lose to people who are better at boxing than him. That's just normal. But it is in no way in the best interest of his fans to pay money to buy Ian's pay-per-view events just to watch him get the crap kicked out of him. So although I think Alex was a step in the right direction, I don't think anyone was on the edge of their seats waiting to see Alex Wasabi and iDubbbz duke it out. In my opinion, I think the perfect matchup for Ian, if he does ever box again, would actually be Sneeko. They're both around the same height and weight, similar physiques and relevance, dwindling reputations, grifters, cucks, the whole nine. And best of all, Sneeko hasn't even fought anyone yet, so maybe Ian could actually get a win, and they could even rebrand the event from Creator Clash to Cuck Clash 3. And if they did that, I'm 100% sure they'd make more than enough money to donate to charity, pay the fighters their percentage of the pay-per-view sales, and simultaneously entertain a bunch of people. But sadly, that wouldn't ever happen because Ian has pigeonholed himself into the type of guy that would never even smack talk prior to the event.
Oh. So you had to come face to face with your opponent.
Face to face.
They sat and talked.
Did you have to hold? Did
that
someone hold you back?
No, we're very respectful.
Yeah, I know. You love respectful fights.
So he's put himself into a position where he cannot fight someone who he's not friends with so he can control what they say prior to the event, which is absurd because being friendly before you punch someone in the mouth and the ribs repeatedly is never gonna get people interested.
Yeah, so,
What you got?
I wrote all these cards.
Yeah.
One of the things I wrote about you is that you like Dragon Ball Z and My Hero Academia.
Accurate.
That is cringe.
Oh.
Those animes are bad.
And for the cherry on top of all of this, Ian has straight up admitted that he does not enjoy boxing.
I'm gonna be honest. I don't love boxing. I find it to be very challenging and very difficult to do. And so it's not. You know, when I go into the gym every day, it's like not therapeutic, or it hasn't been very therapeutic for me, or fun.
Ian, then please do not box. Nobody's going to die because they never got to see Ian Jomha get his first win in the boxing ring or Creator Clash 3. Even as one of the top haters of this guy on this planet, I would never expect him to spend 4, 5, 6 hours every day doing something that he just doesn't enjoy doing. Because if he doesn't enjoy doing it, he's not going to show up 40 hours a week and give it everything he has.
Because you're like your sparring partners in boxing, like they're your friends, but you also have to do well against them and you have to hurt them. Sometimes I'll grapple with that a little bit where it's like, oh, I don't like, can we play more? Do we have to box or can we just like tap each other?
In the ring, there's no denying that Ian's got that dog in him for sure. But you cannot play boxing. And based on the way that Ian talks about boxing, those closest to him, like Anissa, should be doing everything in their power to ensure that Ian never steps into the ring again. In my opinion, I honestly think Creator Clash should not exist. Based on the numbers, there's clearly not a solid market for it. They lie in 4K about the charity aspect of it. They try and restrict the things that people can do and say prior to punching each other in the jaw. They restrict what people can wear to their events and what signs they can hold up. And these restrictions alienate potential viewers and attendees. And if you're gonna do that, then in-person boxing events is never going to work out because they're never gonna be able to sell enough tickets to justify the excessive amounts of money they spend on these events. At the end of the day, if Ian wants to do things to repair his reputation, the only solution to that is for him to focus on his career as a content creator and to stop focusing on boxing.
A lot of your comedy is like, shocking, but I think the areas I struggle with, and I think a lot of people who want to enjoy your content kind of struggle with, is they don't feel like they have permission to laugh.
Is it valid for me to just not care about that?
Get used to it.
You can't keep getting away with it! It's time, Piper! I'm coming to kill you! You can't keep getting away with it!
And last but not least, we have to talk about the biggest L of Ian's entire career, which was the documentary that he decided to make on Sam Hyde. Although the end result was 3 hours of amazing high quality content, Ian came out of this looking like an absolute embarrassment.
Do you think any of the like open mics you've done in the past that are like really offensive to people in the audience, do you think those would be as funny if the audience wasn't so offended?
The fact that that was a pre-written question, which took him 10 seconds to ask, is a perfect representation of how much of a silly Billy Ian really is nowadays. This is still the same person who became a millionaire off of posting edgy comedy to the internet, just like Sam did, who once posted a video titled "The Joke Police Tick Me Off," and he's now joke policing, and for some reason, he cares about the feelings of people who go to stand-up comedy shows just to try and get offended.
If you're a fucking prude with a stick up your ass the whole time, you can suck the fun and the comedy out of anything. And I think people in general need to realize that jokes come in so many different forms. Funny 'cause true. Funny because you made a funny face. Funny because I'm a bit depraved.
Funny because you farted. Funny because I want to laugh because I'm in a good mood.
So what went wrong between Sam and Ian? Because in another world, these two could have been best friends, but instead, they have by far the worst on-camera chemistry I've ever seen between two humans.
Why did you choose to make a documentary about me?
Well, I'm gonna flip that question on you and say...
You can't flip I just flipped the question on you.
No, that's not how this works. I'm interviewing you.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
This is the craziest interview I've ever conducted.
Yeah, this is not gonna be like an ordinary interview.
In my opinion, the main issue with this documentary is the fact that Ian went out to Rhode Island with malicious intentions before they even started filming, and even the subject of the documentary himself believed that as well.
I knew from the get-go that he was coming out here to make me look bad. And honestly, I knew from the first email what it was, because I knew that he had been getting a lot of shit from like 4chan right-wing type guys because of his OnlyFans girlfriend. And so I was just, game theory, what's this guy thinking? He's thinking he's gonna, the shooter, the terrorist mascot, he's gonna make me look bad so that he can like get one over on the people that have been trolling him for having an OnlyFans girlfriend.
And you can just tell from the way Ian words certain things in this documentary that his intention was to go out there and expose Sam and to criticize him for his comedy. However, things didn't go exactly as planned for Ian. One might even say he wasn't exactly the puppet master in this situation, because before Ian had even got to Rhode Island, Sam and his team made this gaslighting iDubbbz document, which is honestly one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Joey, can you open up the iDubbbz gaslighting document?
Some of my personal favorites include making a song with the hook "swag like iDubbbz." Someone tells iDubbbz they had him confused with Linus Tech Tips, in-car boxing for self-defense situations, and have someone's character be super abrasive and unfunny, "that's what she said" type jokes. So just to keep this short and sweet, Ian essentially got trolled the entire time. Sam even hired an actress to pretend to be a crackhead, and Ian tried to save her from Sam. We all know Ian loves those goth mommies, and at one point, Ian even insinuated that Sam might be the reason why the actress was a crackhead.
I think people think like Sam's a lunatic. Sam's a normal guy to me.
He's kind of a lunatic.
Yeah, I get it. Like, I can understand why people say that, but Sam...
What makes you say that, iDubbbz?
I think your relationship makes me think that a little bit. I think a lot of...
What, Danny?
Yeah.
Why?
We'll get into it.
To me, that's the most solid and dependable thing. Is like stick-to-itiveness in a relationship. She's obviously blown out. What would you suggest that you leave her so she kills herself?
No.
And then for the rest of eternity,
You don't even know what
Sam
I'm
Hyde's girlfriend kills herself. You saw her. If she killed herself, would it be my fault? Tell me. You think it would be?
It could be.
You think I did that to her? Her fucking dealer did that to her. You think I sold her what she's doing?
I don't know anything about it.
And when Sam and Ian finally sat down for their one-on-one interview on the third day, this was the first question that Ian asked Sam.
Do you remember our first interaction?
No.
You don't?
No. I have a very bad memory, though.
Yeah.
Was it bad?
What do you think?
Did I snub you or slight you or something? What did I do?
Your memory's that bad?
Yes.
You don't remember?
I do not remember.
Okay. Do you remember?
What was it?
You remember making a pony game?
Yes.
There were some creators at the time who made videos about this fake pony project.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Were you one of them?
I was one of them.
What did I do?
Do you have any guesses?
Did I say fuck you or something?
No, you copyright claimed the video.
Really?
Yes. And then you sent me an email.
I mean, I don't do most copyright claims. What was the email?
The email was, I will release the copyright claim on your video if you can send me a video of yourself squatting 200 pounds below parallel.
Why didn't you do that? You'd be so much stronger now if you've done that.
Yeah.
Damn. Did I create an enemy with that?
I mean, for a period.
Damn,
I didn't like you.
I'm sorry.
You're an asshole.
I'm sorry, buddy. That's no good.
Yeah. Why'd you do that to me?
I don't know. I can't even remember what your video was. So maybe I was pissed off or something. I don't know. I was trying to not have that ruse get blown though.
Right.
So maybe that had something to do with it.
That probably did.
I'm sorry. I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what led to this day today.
Really? Okay. So you're gonna punk me?
You're getting punked.
Really? How are you gonna punk me?
I'm gonna make you look like an asshole.
Really?
Which isn't hard to do.
Is that really the case?
No.
Okay.
And this is what made people believe that this video was a hit piece. Let's not forget, Ian is still quite a vindictive guy. I mean, the outro to this video is literally him squatting 225 below parallel 10 years later, and this was also the point where Sam seems to have shut down. And later in the interview, Sam ended up revealing the fact that Ian was getting trolled the entire time.
I'm curious about your relationship with Danny. Has she been on drugs since she met you?
She's been on drugs since before she met me. So if you're implying that I've driven her to drug use, you are incorrect.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, that's what I wanted to sort of get out of the way.
Good.
Yeah.
Glad we got that out of the way.
Have you tried to get her any help?
No, seeing as she's a girl I paid $500 to shave her head and pretend to be my girlfriend, no, I haven't tried to get her any help. Do you want me to try?
Wait, okay.
I don't know her that well. It's probably not my business to get her off drugs. Also, I think I told her to put her hand in your pocket and pretend to be on drugs.
Shut up.
Are you serious? You date a girl that has her hair shaved like that?
Yes.
Is that a fucking mental case?
Yes.
No, actually, I've known her for a long time. And,
this is so upsetting to me right now.
You think I'm a fucking millionaire? You think I have a shit-ass office like this?
Shut up. This is your office.
Says who? You think I would fucking spill rock stars and Legos all over my office like a fucking animal and have 20 people in a fucking dentist's office? You know this is a converted dentist's office, right? That's why there's like paintings of like whales on the walls and shit. Ian, you shitty guy.
So you're punking me?
I'm not punking you. I'm trying to make I thought it'd be funny for your fans. I would like it.
The whole thing?
I would never do anything
The whole thing's a ruse.
Actually hurt you or upset you or make you look foolish. I would not do that.
And by the end of the documentary, Ian was quite upset with the fact that he got trolled.
I would have been more stoked with the prank if he had allowed us to take a candid look at his life afterwards, but he shut us out. I don't know what his day-to-day life is really like. I don't know even surface level details about how he does things or, you know, if he's even in a relationship.
Yeah, buddy, co-parter. At the end of the day, getting trolled is not ideal, but the video itself is still very entertaining, and a big reason why the video is as good as it is because Ian got trolled. But instead of trying to play into it even a little bit, he just pretends like he no longer even knows what a joke is the entire time, and that makes Ian come off as a square. There was never any logical reason for why Sam would have ever been serious with Ian. Sam plays a character online, and that wasn't gonna change just because iDubbbz did a funny face and changed his tone of voice.
No. You don't understand. You're my genius, you.
And after Ian had left Rhode Island, Ian watched the footage back and realized the fact that his hit piece had failed, so he just completely stopped responding to Sam after a few months, and after 9 months of patiently waiting, Sam and his crew decided to release their footage on their own.
Spent fucking $15,000 on the thing, so we got to release our footage.
Yeah.
So that's what we're gonna do.
Here's what happened.
Jet's cutting it up, and it's not to like.
This what happened.
It's not to make iDubbbz look stupid or anything, or like do anything like burn. We took your documentary footage and released it first, dude. No, it's just like we spent $15,000 on this.
Yeah.
We took 9 months to make it's been 9 months, and there's no communication, and we did we spent 2 weeks of time. That's what I'm more worried about.
So by failing to communicate effectively with the other party, Ian put himself in a position where he and his editor had to rush something out after Sam's documentary came out, and about a month later Ian released his video. And although Ian was understandably upset by the fact that he got trolled, everything was at least amicable between the two. Sam even made a response video thanking iDubbbz for the additional exposure.
For him to like even be associated with my name in any way is like a bold thing. He's playing with his livelihood at that point. So that's a huge deal. So I'm tremendously thankful to him.
However, the beef between these two only started once Ian and Anissa started going out of their way to insult Sam before Creator Clash 1.
Do you think Dr. Mike would box on a card with Sam Hyde? It's just a massive business risk.
Look, Sam Hyde is absolutely not the most brand-friendly guy, there's no debate there, but it would be hard for one individual human being to be more of a business risk than iDubbbz. And this is so hypocritical because the main sponsor for Creator Clash is Fansly, a literal porn website with zero morals.
It's obvious what's being done out here. It's on a nightly basis. I hope the world can see now what's really going on out here, because it's getting ridiculous. It's really ridiculous.
Check out exclusive behind-the-scene content for Creator Clash only at fansly.com/Creator Clash.
This is ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
So although Sam is not exactly the poster child for being a brand-friendly figure, you cannot pretend to be running a brand-friendly event and then turn around and accept blood money from a porn company. And they also kicked Sam out of the first Creator Clash event after he spent more than $10,000 for front row seats for him and his team, which yet again proves these people do not care about the charities. They care about what makes them look good, and ever since Ian kicked Sam out of the event, they've had a public beef between each other.
So the night before the event, Sam was banned from entering. He already had flights, damn near $12,000 tickets, and an Airbnb for not only himself, but his entire crew. All gone to waste at the very last second. And at no point before the fight did iDubbbz say, "Hey Sam, you can't come, I'm gonna ban you." He literally waited until the very last moment, pulled his crew aside, and told them at a gathering of other creators that Sam was not gonna be allowed to enter. And not only would Sam be banned, but his entire crew would be banned as well.
And just to clarify this, I am not a Sam Hyde fan by any stretch of the imagination. Just like the edgy version of Ian, his content is just not something I'd personally be consistently interested in watching for free, although I do find some of the clips of him to be hilarious.
I use a combination of lies, manipulation, cheating, stealing, gaslighting, bullying, insulting, and flexing to make sure that everybody at my office stays under my thumb where I want them.
But one thing that really stuck out to me that Ian cut out of his documentary was this part right here.
And I brought you here and I was like, I want to help Ian make a cool video for his channel that will like entertain his fans. I like the Dax Flame. I like that you're bringing Dax Flame out because I used to like his videos back in the day. And I was like, all right, we'll do everything with Ian. We're gonna go shoot guns. We're gonna get cars. We're gonna fucking bring the slingshot out, which you love. Okay, you said that's my Ferrari. That's my baby Ferrari.
That is a perfect example of what Ian completely fails to do well now, and what Sam does extremely well to capitalize off of the opportunity that Ian gave him. Sam put his money where his mouth is and spent more than $10,000 of his own money trying to make Ian's documentary as entertaining as humanly possible, strictly for the viewer's pleasure. And we've seen that pay off massively for him, as his influence has grown exponentially since the release of that documentary, and I know he's already made that money back 100x due to him focusing on the best interests of his fans. And now, less than 2 years later, Sam has gone from irrelevant to one of the highest super chatted channels on all of YouTube. They just finished Fish Tank, which seems to have been a massive success, and shortly after the documentary came out, Sam ended up boxing in front of 20,000 people. So there's no denying that since the release of Ian Sam Hyde documentary, their careers have taken turns in completely opposite directions, and this is where Ian's lack of real-world experience and emotional intelligence becomes a problem, because the fact of the matter is, you cannot cancel an already canceled man, but that's exactly what Ian tried to do, and the contrast between how soft Ian is now and how Sam kept his cool the entire time only ended up making Sam look good. Based on his actions, I'm convinced that Ian actually wants Sam to grow in popularity. I honestly wouldn't be surprised at all if Ian was on a revenue sharing deal for Sam's AdSense money, because everything Ian has ever done and said involving Sam just always ends up making Sam look better.
This is my request. I would like you to not harass me or my wife or anyone that we're friends with. Also, harassment encompasses all the little loopholes, all right? You can't just then like refer to me as a goblin and be like, I didn't say his name. I wasn't talking about him. I was talking about a goblin. That's not acceptable.
I wonder why he specifically asked Sam not to call him a goblin.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
In all seriousness, the real problem here is that Ian and Sam's names should not be intertwined at all, and the fact that they are is 100% Ian's fault. If Ian had truly matured, he would have been able to acknowledge the fact that he was not the right guy to be able to deal with Sam in person.
You're not him.
There is no good reason as to why Sam should be able to consistently outshine Ian as well as he does, aside from the fact that Ian has failed to grow and mature as a person as time went on. And now, thanks to Ian Jomha's existence on this earth, there's at least an extra 100,000 Sam Hyde fans out there.
But when that ended, you guys were seemingly on decent terms, right?
Yeah, I felt, even though I knew he came out to try to clown me, but the exposure that I got from that, I got a pretty serious boost to my career, to which I'm indebted to him for, you know.
So although I was being kind of tongue-in-cheek earlier when I said that Ian's channel has become an alt-right pipeline, there's no question as to whether or not some of Sam's older content falls within the realm of alt-right content. And we have to ask ourselves, are more people out there alt-right because of the existence of this documentary, or less? The answer is inarguably more. Even if it's just one or two people, influencers are called influencers for a reason. I will say though, from what I've seen, Sam rarely ever talks about anything to do with politics anymore, so I'll give him some credit for at least publicly being less politically extreme or even involved, knowing that he might have some more radical views.
And the thing that I tell anybody I care about, or anybody who pays to listen to me, is to take care of yourself, squat 225 below parallel, and fix your shit, stack money, be loyal to the people who are close to you, etc. But I don't care about politics.
Now, I don't know exactly how much credit someone deserves just for not publicly being alt-right anymore, but I do think it's important to note these things because Ian intentionally cut that part out of his documentary because he was clearly blinded by his political brain rot. But as the old saying goes, you can run and hide to your throne of lies, but the Candyman will always take the prize.
In conclusion, the world's gonna end. Someone made a video about me. Oh god. Even though I have 1,000 videos on the internet of me saying nigger, I'm gonna cry over this video.
So why does everybody hate Ian? To put it bluntly, it's because the matured, grown-up version of Ian that we see today hasn't actually matured or grown up at all. Instead, he comes off as pretentious, disingenuous, self-centered, and a massive hypocrite. He has to constantly go out of his way to tell people that he's changed and grown instead of simply just showing people through his actions and his content. Instead, he goes on and on about change, then shows the exact opposite through his actions.
iDubbbz has grown up from that type of content. It's called maturing. You should try it for once.
Oh yeah? iDubbbz is a big boy now because he doesn't do edgy humor anymore? Alright, well let's check out his new adult content. Put on our sideburns, smoke our cigars, and get ready. I made the most satisfying fidget toy. Yeah, is this the new adult content you guys were hyping up? The only thing missing from this title is at 3 a.m.
Quit picking on me because I'm British. Oh.
He continuously makes the wrong decisions at every turn, and unfortunately, because he's a public figure, he makes all those wrong decisions in front of everyone.
So what's going on, March 2020?
Yeah, are you guys familiar with OnlyFans?
Looking back on it now, iDubbbz was an entertaining, confident man who people in general loved and at the very least respected. And now, a lot of those same people who were once huge fans of Ian now look at him with a sense of disgust. And to be honest, I don't blame them for that.
You were the chosen one! It was said that you would destroy this Sith, not join them! Bring balance to the Force! Not leave it in darkness!
In my opinion, iDubbbz was infinitely more entertaining and funny as the oversized cop suit wearing drama guy who jumped off of countertops at lightning speed versus the smug and ungrateful version of Ian that we see today.
Do you think it was cool when I was running around in an oversized cop outfit? That was cool to you.
iDubbbz was never the indestructible online god that his fans made him out to be. The same guy who once shaved his own hairline because Leafy made one joke about his hairline, the same guy who single-handedly destroyed the entire alt-right on YouTube was never anything but a character Ian created to LARP as a guy tougher and more confident than he really was. And I think that's totally fine, because through that character, Ian was able to entertain hundreds of millions of people all for free, and that's still a noble thing to do in my book, assuming that you don't subsequently insult all the people who supported you unconditionally for years on end.
See, if I had a big old scheming brain, I would definitely get a porn wife, change my last name, get a bunch of the tattoos that are on the wall in like Cancun or Louisiana and New Orleans, and I'd engineer so that everybody hates me justly.
Yeah, I would tell all my people that made me rich that I hate them.
And then my brain would just go.
Remember, Ian is still the same guy who declared that Leafy has no chin. However, it's quite ironic because we later found out that Ian has no spine. And lastly, because I care about the fans so much, I think it would only be fair that we end this one off with a bang.
My girlfriend started an OnlyFans. I'm totally fine with you jacking off the pictures of her on the internet.
Dude, you're a fucking cuck.
My wife, I'm sort of a cold man myself. Please have a great time.
How am I the simp? How am I the simp?
I fucking love that community. Goddamn. That's so fucking cool.
You damaged my face quite a bit. We lost $250,000 on the event.
Think it, dream it, do it. 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 Think it, dream it, do it.
You want to know the shortcut to being a master of the Polaris slingshot? Think Ferrari.
If you guys like this video, I think you might like this one on the screen right now, or maybe this one about this absolute gnome Keemstar. If you like the video, like it. It helps a lot with the algorithm. If you disliked it, dislike it. If you want to support the channel, you can become a member. And aside from that, I hope you all have a wonderful day.